EPL, 2:45 p.m. Arsenal faces Fulham with the Arsenal feed on Internet 1900, Fulham on Internet 1940, national feed on Sirius XM and Internet channels 157. 2:45 p.m. Wolverhampton faces West Ham, Wolverhampton on Internet 1995, West Ham on Internet 1990. 3 p.m. Nottingham Forest faces Manchester United, Nottingham Forest feed on Internet 1975, Manchester United on Internet 1965. In Major League Baseball, 6:40 p.m. Miami Marlins face the New York Mets, Marlins on Sirius 219, XM 176 and Internet 855, Mets on Internet 858. 6:40 p.m. Cincinnati Reds face the Texas Rangers, Reds on Sirius 208, XM 175 and Internet 847, Rangers on Internet 867, Spanish feed on Internet 870. 7:05 p.m. New York Yankees take on the Arizona Diamondbacks, Yankees on Sirius 210, XM 177 and Internet 859, Diamondbacks on Internet 840.
Follow every second of the action on NHL Network Radio. From behind the bench to every play on the ice. If it's hockey, it's on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio. SiriusXM 91.
I'm Mick Kern with It Happened in Baseball. If you've got your 1975 Topps baseball set just kicking around, pull out card number 407. It's an oddity in the hobby, being the only baseball card ever issued for a pinch runner. Flip over the card, you'll see 92 games played in 1974 for Herb Washington. The native of Mississippi grew up in Flint, Michigan, playing baseball like most kids, but he excelled at sprinting. He broke a number of records during his prime, in particular in the 50 and 60-yard dash, but just missed out on qualifying for the 1972 Munich Summer Olympics. None other than Charlie Finley, the colorful and creative owner of the Oakland A's, who knew a good promotional idea when he saw one, signed Washington to a one-year contract worth $45,000, along with a $20,000 signing bonus. The catch was there would be no catching nor hitting. Hurricane Herb would be employed solely as the A's pinch runner. That first season, Washington stole 29 bases in 45 attempts. Unfortunately, during Game 2 of the World Series that autumn, he was picked off first base by the Dodgers' Mike Marshall. He was also caught stealing twice in the ALCS against the Baltimore Orioles. Washington got into 13 more games in the 1975 season before being released by the A's. His career line shows 105 games played over 2 seasons, where he stole 31 bases and was caught 17 times. Herb Washington scored 33 runs for the Oakland A's, all without a single plate appearance. For It Happened in Baseball, I'm Mick Kern.
Hear it all on demand. Your favorite shows, your favorite games. Don't miss a second of your favorite SiriusXM programming on demand with the SiriusXM app. Download it now for free.
Official Sam Barrett, and we're just about to get underway here at the City Ground. Anthony Elanga against his former club, Bruno Fernandes in the centre circle, Manchester United in a change strip of dark navy, and Nottingham Forest as ever at home in their usual red. Manchester United, unless they change ends after the coin toss, are going to be kicking from right to left as we look at it, and we're about to get underway here at the City Ground on Premier League Live at TalkSport Live. If you'd like a shout out, once again a warm welcome.
What's up, soccer fans? Thanks for hanging out with us this morning, this afternoon, this evening, whatever time it is, wherever you're watching from. I am your host, Mike. Some call me TSI Mike, some call me SOP Mike. We're live today on Sons of a Pitch Soccer Central for Manchester United against Nottingham Forest. Even though the game really doesn't matter, when you look at the table, Nottingham Forest at third place with 54 points. Manchester United sitting in a lowly 13th place with 37 points. I think we're safe with relegation. Don't have to worry about that. But trying to get to those Europa League spots is probably not going to happen either. So this game is pretty much meaningless, but we're glad you're here hanging out with us. Please hit the like button down below and share this link out. Let's get more fans here in the chat, and let's help build an awesome community for Manchester United fans here on YouTube.
Lenny Yoro on the halfway line with his first touch up to that right hand side. Bruno Fernandes at the moment is playing through the centre with Xerxes to the right of him. Manchester United pass the ball down the right channel straight out of play, and Forest will have an early throw in. 30 seconds gone at the City Ground. Forest 0, Manchester United 0. Ben Jacobs and Hogan Ephraim with you on Premier League Live. Forest through Williams go long down the left hand flank. Gibbs White gets a little bit of a touch, but Delete mops up, hoofs it long. Xerxes challenging for the loose ball. He won't win it. It's prodded forwards again, looking for that run of Gibbs White, who gets there ahead of Delete, but the Manchester United defender able to stand firm and stab the ball out of play for a Forest throw-in 30 yards from goal, far left hand side.
Yeah, good from Forest, so getting out the pitch nice and early. Morgan Gibbs White showing his energy, dragging Delict out wide, and that's where Delict doesn't want to be. He wants to be in the middle of that back three and feel the security beside him.
Forest go backwards with the throw-in and eventually all the way back to Sells in goal, who's just outside his box. Xerxes puts a bit of pressure on him. Long ball, which is nodded down by Casemiro, but straight into the path of Yates. Game hasn't really found a rhythm in these opening 2 minutes or so, and finally it settles with Mazraoui inside his own half. He goes square to the dreadlocks of Lenny Yoro. Not a hairstyle I could pull off.
No, I don't think it's for me either, but he's having a really good spell, Lenny Yoro. I know he's just coming back from injury now, but he started to pick up a bit of form in that first leg against Sociedad. I thought it was really impressive, and when he had the injury earlier in the season, he didn't come back in the best of form, so he'll want to hit the ground running now.
Agate out-muscled in the centre of the park. Murillo picks it up under a bit of pressure, and he's lost out here. Agate wins it back and feeds Garnacho, who was a bit rushed and rash. Really good play by Agate, the former Sporting midfielder. Garnacho realised he was in by the byline, inside the area on the right-hand side. Heavy first touch, though, and all he could do was knock it out of play for a Forest goal kick.
Yeah, it was a poor touch from Garnacho, but what you notice straight away is with Xerxes playing as the 9, there wasn't that threat in the 6-yard box. He was more pulled back towards the penalty spot. We know that he likes to come to feet and join the game together, so they might miss that box presence tonight.
At TalkSport Live, if you'd like to shout out. 3 minutes gone. Nottingham Forest 0, Manchester United 0. Forest with Sells, Aina, Milenkovic, Murillo and Williams. Very experienced back line. Yates and Anderson, the former Newcastle United player. Alanga, ex-Manchester United. Gibbs White, Danilo and Awonyi with Chris Wood injured. Manchester United with Anana, Yoro, Delite, Mazraoui, Dallo and Dorgu, the fullbacks. Casemiro, Agate, Garnacho, Bruno Fernandes, who we haven't seen too much of so far, and Joshua Xerxes leading the line. 3.5 minutes gone. Forest 0, Manchester United 0, and 0-0 in the other games that kicked off 15 minutes before this one. Arsenal, Fulham and Wolves, West Ham. I will let you know if there's a goal in either of those games. Lenny Yoro able to saunter over the halfway line. Diagonal ball looking for Bruno Fernandes. Not a bad idea. Just needed more purchase on it. It's easily dealt with by Murillo, who feeds it up to Awonyi. Good strength by the Forest number 9. Elliot Anderson loses out though, and Garnacho's got an opportunity to feed Bruno Fernandes, who tries a snap shot. Tried to take the goalkeeper Sells by surprise, but in the end it bounced up at a good height, and the Forest goalkeeper able to palm it to his right and out for a corner.
Yeah, it was really good that from Delict, Ugarte and Xerxes. 3 of them got around Anderson. Pressure on the ball. Ugarte ends up nicking it to Garnacho. Lovely little first time pass to Bruno. There was no doubt he's not a dribbler, Bruno, so he just wanted to get that out of his feet and hit it. It looked awkward for Sells, but he done enough just to push it aside. One
of those where if he'd have inadvertently dragged it a bit more, then it might have found, as Fernandes looked at it, the bottom left-hand corner. It is a Manchester United corner, near left-hand side. Bruno Fernandes just dinked that one in towards the near post. It comes back to him as Forest clear through Murillo. Poor cross by Bruno Fernandes, and now Forest come forwards on a counter-attack. Opportunity for Anthony Elanga. He's still going. He's inside the area, and he's guided it into the bottom right-hand corner. Anthony Elanga scores a world-class goal. Manchester United backed off, and Forest punished them on the counter-attack. Elanga haunts his former club. He just kept powering forwards like a steam train, found himself inside the area, and then had the vision and the composure to just guide it into the right-hand corner, beating Andre Onana. And with 5 minutes gone, it's Forest 1, Manchester United 0.
Wow, it's absolutely incredible that from Anthony Elanga. Honestly, They clear the corner away, and he just breaks. Dorgu ends up half giving up. He can't catch him. He's electric. Garnacho, you're thinking you have to take him down and foul because Gibbs White's on the outside to play in. He doesn't use Gibbs White. He keeps going on his left foot, edge of the box. Composure there. Brilliant finish into the far corner. Was thinking before the game he would be desperate for a goal. There's a little bit of a rift between him and the Manchester United fans over the last year or so, and what a start that is for him.
22-year-old Elanga with the opening goal after just 5 minutes. Manchester United between 2021 and 2023, in which time he was only ever able to score 3 Premier League goals in 39 games. Now he has 6 this season alone and 11 in the Premier League in total for Nottingham Forest. And Elanga, like Gibbs White and others, Callum Hudson-Odoi of course, who is missing, but another player, all having outstanding seasons. And this is why Nottingham Forest are third and Manchester United are in the bottom half of the table.
Yeah, it's the directness there of Elanga. There's no second thinking of I'm going to hold it up and I'm just going to try and wait for my teammates to join me. He just drives at them. We're talking about Garnacho and Dorgu, probably two of Manchester United's more athletic players. They couldn't get near him. And I watched an interview with Elanga not too long ago where he rated himself as the fastest football player in the world. And on that show, and he won't be too far off, I'll tell you that, because that was electric.
And I think you made a great point about Garnacho. You just got to take the yellow card and foul him 30 yards from goal, because if he does that, okay, he gets a yellow card. Wouldn't have been a red. Manchester United trying to fight back here. Cross comes in from the right hand side. Bruno Fernandes was unmarked there, couldn't generate enough power on the header. It's tame from about 12 yards and it's gathered by Sells.
Yeah, there's a decent chance that for Bruno Fernandes. Finds himself free in the box, but the header is straight at the goalkeeper. But going back to your point on Garnacho, I think that's just an inexperienced attacker. If that's Ugarte, Casemiro, Bruno, they foul him and get the yellow card all day long. So yeah, they won't be happy with that start.
8 minutes gone. Nottingham Forest 1, Manchester United 0 on Premier League Live. Wolves have also taken the lead against West Ham United. You would think that Wolves are safe anyway, given the form of the 3 newly promoted sides currently in the bottom 3. But Strand Larsen has scored on 9 minutes. Wolves 1, West Ham United 0. Manchester United looking for a response here. Dalot, who hasn't got forwards on the overlap yet, finds Garnacho, and back to Dalot on that right hand side. 9 minutes gone here at the City grounds. Ben Jacobs and Hogan at E-Frame with you. Forest are looking to record their highest ever Premier League finish, their best previously third place in 1994-1995, and Manchester United of course are on course for their lowest ever Premier League finish. Anthony Elanga is the difference between the sides, a one-man show on the counter-attack. Manchester United will be disappointed because he started, Hogan, maybe 70 yards from goal?
Yeah, it's got to be in and around that distance. I actually thought he should have released Gibbs White, but if you're going to go alone, make sure you go and finish it, and he did that with aplomb.
But I think that was the composure, wasn't it? Because he realised that Onana had his eye to his right, so he waited and then put it in the other corner.
Yeah.
Forest looking to double their lead here as Elliot Anderson goes down on the edge of the area on the left-hand side.
That'll be a free kick, that.
Not given by the referee Jared Gillett, and Manchester United come away with it. Bruno Fernandes with the ball in field to Garnacho, who was trying to set Dorgu off on the left-hand side. Aina able to step across and make the challenge. Garnacho's ball was at the right angle, but not enough pace on it. Manchester United pick it up again, though, on the right-hand side. Garnacho receives the ball from Dalot. He's inside the area. He tees up a little square ball there to Dorgu, who maybe wasn't quite expecting that and didn't take a swing early enough and ended up getting muscled off the ball inside the Forest area. But that's probably the one positive for Manchester United. With 10 minutes gone, we've seen a Fernandes long-range effort, a free header inside the area, and a few other little half chances and touches in the Forest box that, although they've not led to anything, show you that Manchester United are going to create chances in this game.
Yeah, other than the goal, they'd be pretty pleased with how they started, but that goal is just unacceptable for me. You can't have a player run, like you said, 70 yards with a ball. And it will be tough. We know how resolute Forest are at the back. So trying to get back into the game will not be easy. Forest won't open up. They'll get men behind the ball and into a good shape.
Premier League Live, if you'd like a shout out at TalkSport Live. Hello to our viewers in Ireland, America, Canada and all around the world at TalkSport Live. Send us a photo as well. We always love to see you, what you're up to, where you are listening from. Pets, spouses, kids, all welcome. Brunches, sometimes we say when we're on a Saturday. Don't know what you'd really call a dinner and a lunch. The sort of evening version of a brunch. A dunch. Nottingham Forest 1, Manchester United 0. Manchester United have had 77% of the ball, but they trail to a sensational Anthony Elanga goal. And now they have the ball on the right hand side. Dalot cuts in, he's got a little bit of space, he squares it to Bruno Fernandes through the legs of Agate. Garnacho in the area, weaving but well covered by Anderson. He plays it against the Forest midfielder. 50-50 ball, Agate nearly won it, but in the end Ryan Yates is able to clear, but it takes a horrible deflection as he does so off his own player, and it will go backwards for a very fortunate Manchester United corner.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the ball's bubbled up or what there, or he just completely took his eye off it, but strange one to give away there. Normally the cheapest corners you give away end up being the most expensive, and they'll be hoping that that's not the case here.
Bruno Fernandes, far right hand side. Manchester United with 5 in the box, a cluster of players in the 6-yard area. Xerxes closest to the goalkeeper, De Ligt to the left of the penalty spot, Dalot's at the near post, Bruno Fernandes to deliver, and it was Casemiro in the end that leapt unmarked, and a bit like Bruno Fernandes but from a slightly tougher angle. He got a free header but couldn't generate either power or direction to get it on target, and the more I look at that, the more I think he should have scored.
Yeah, it's a good chance for Casemiro. We know what a threat he can be in the box. He scored here not a few seasons back. I think it was his first season he got the goal against Nottingham Forest to knock him out the cup. So yeah, that's a really good chance. Free header, nobody picking him up. They were going zonal, Forest, and Manchester United have quite a big lineup today, which they don't normally have.
I think in a weird way Dalot, who was in front of Casemiro, was trying to duck out the way, but he made such a exaggerated movement that maybe that just caught Casemiro's eye line standing behind him.
Yeah.
And if anything, it wasn't what Forest did that put Casemiro off, it was probably Dalot right in front of him.
Yeah, now he'll be disappointed he didn't score that, and I know some may say he was beyond the near post, it's tough, but in this fixture earlier in the season we saw Milenkovic do it at Old Trafford. I think he'd fancy himself to direct it into the near post.
As it stands, Forest 57 points, long way to go of course, but just to illustrate how they can build a bit of a gap, and Manchester United have it at the back. Dorgu, neat feet there to get away from Gibbs-White, and he keeps going, looking for a give and go with Bruno Fernandes, who was well pleased by Yates, and Yates not only blocks Bruno Fernandes from completing the 1-2, but got enough on it to slow Manchester United down. Xerxes interchanges with Agate, who shifts his feet to get away from Gibbs-White, and then plays a short ball to Dorgu, who's not afraid to get forwards. He's done so more than Dalot on that left-hand side. Now Xerxes battling here on that left-hand side inside the area up against Murillo, and the final touch I think is from Murillo there, and Xerxes won a corner out of nothing.
Yeah, he's done well there, Xerxes. He was close to giving away a free kick at one stage. He's got his arms all over Murillo. But what you got to say about Xerxes, ever since he got subbed off in that game against Newcastle early on, he's come back with a little bit more fight in him, more desire. And yes, he's a technical player and he shows some quality at times, but I think that's what the manager and that's what the fans wanted to see, more heart, more fight, and he's starting to do that.
Premier League Live, Nottingham Forest 1, Manchester United 0. Manchester United's third corner of the game. Bruno Fernandes, right hand up in the air. Players at the back post at the moment. It's in towards the near post, and Awoniyi is able to head it out. Bruno Fernandes is going to let it bounce, and it will be another corner to Manchester United. Not the best delivery there from Bruno Fernandes, going for the sort of Olympico at the near post and hoping someone got a touch, but all the Manchester United players are at the far post. They still are inside the 6-yard area. Dallow's peeling away now to the near post. Better delivery by Bruno Fernandes, and Sells, with not much room to work with, did well to watch that and get a palm on it. And now here's Gibbs White on the counter-attack. Much like for Forest's first goal, he's able to run a fair amount of yards. He lays it off on the overlap on the left-hand side to Taiwo Iwonyi. Back now it goes to Danilo, and this time Manchester United able to get numbers back. Danilo has to check, and now Forest slow things down on the halfway line.
Yeah, Manchester United, they need to change their setup when it's attacking corners, because they're left exposed at the back. This is so reminiscent of watching Liverpool against Aston Villa earlier in the season, and Liverpool ended up scoring 2 goals from it. It's mind-boggling how empty they are at the edge of the box.
It's one thing, isn't it, taking a gamble with those extra bodies in the box, but Forest are basically saying, we've got height, experienced defenders, we've also got Iwonyi with height, we're going to win that first header, and then Elanga or Gibbs White are just going to run and run and run.
Yeah. Going into this game, Manchester United's biggest worry would have been the counter-attack of Nottingham Forest. So to let it happen from your attacking corners is shocking.
16 minutes gone. Ola Aina, Anderson. Aina can't get to the return ball. Bruno Fernandes is in the way. Casemiro, half-hearted attempt to win the ball, and Yates nearly just burrowed through Mazraoui, but it just sort of bobbled as he tried to carry it into the area, and that allowed De Ligt to hack the ball away.
Yeah, he's having a really good season, Elliot Anderson. Honestly, he looks miles better than the player we saw at Newcastle. Just the confidence of playing week in, week out, having the trust of the manager. He looks like he's got the lot.
Should point out that Newcastle United didn't want to sell. It was one of those PSR deals. Throw into Forest, far right hand side, 30 yards from goal. Ola Aina, who's got a long throw, arrows it into the box, half cleared by Manchester United, only as far as Neco Williams. He crosses again, and this time Dorgu is able to just about clear. Mazraoui was actually challenging his own player there, and Forest regained possession just outside the area on the right hand side. Lovely first touch by Elanga. Ola Aina can't quite play the overlap ball, or the inverted diagonal ball, in fact, looking for Yates, the Forest captain. And Casemiro this time shows good strength to get there ahead of Elliot Anderson and start a potential Manchester United counter-attack. Dallow to Xerxes, first time ball to Dorgu, and he plays it in also first time. It wasn't a bad idea, but Sells read it ever so well, straight off his line, and gathers it around about the penalty area, which shows you how quickly the Forest goalkeeper anticipated the danger there. Garnacho was furthest forwards for Manchester United, but he was never going to get to that because Sells was very alert.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, that football was out of this world. They switched it from left to right, back over to the left. It was so clean. Xerxes at the heart of it, putting it together. Casemiro involved. And it was just that final pass from Dorgu, but it would have been an unbelievable team goal if they got something from that.
Dorgu loves to get forwards. We've seen that since he joined Manchester United. Maybe a surprise is on the right. Dallow's not doing the same.
Yeah, I think Dallow's been a massive disappointment, I'll be honest, the whole season, but even more so going to right wing back. They'll definitely be looking for an upgrade there in the summer, or maybe Amad Diallo. That could be a position that he fills.
Here come Forest again, 30 yards from goal. 1 year's furthest forwards, but Elanga tried to just go alone, and this time he's well tackled by Mazraoui, who's got a lot to do, and eventually Anderson wrestles the ball back off him and goes back to Sells, and with 18 minutes gone, it's Forest 1, Manchester United 0. Forest have won 12 of 13 Premier League games against teams in the bottom half, and 7 of their final 9 are against teams in the bottom half as well. So if they get through this, you have to suddenly start to say they're not just in the race for Champions League football, but they're big favourites to get one of the spots.
Yeah, well, for the last, 10 games, I've been expecting Forest to lose every one of them, because I'm thinking they can't keep this going, surely. And every week they seem to win, so they've been unbelievable. And they won't come out and say it, but inside the club now, they'd be very disappointed if they didn't finish in the Champions League positions.
Danilo, back to Gibbs White, who slipped. Casemiro is there. He finds Xerxes with a short ball. Then Garnacho with a looping square pass switches it to Dorgu on the Manchester United left. Forest with everyone behind the ball and not putting pressure on Manchester United's back line. Manchester United continue to have over 60% of the possession. And here's De Ligt. Square ball to Mazraoui. Dorgu's the option on the left-hand side. Midway through the first half, Dorgu receives the ball and again is forced backward. Bit of a hospital pass to De Ligt, but Iwonyi, the former Chelsea man, can't quite get to it. He's deputising for Chris Wood, though 18 months ago, if you'd have said he was only a deputy, I think eyebrows would have been raised, which shows you what a great season Chris Wood has had. And now here's Alanga, breezes past a couple of players on the left hand side and then lays it off to Awoniyi. He's being able to run so freely. Now Forest goes central. Danilo prods it to Gibbs White, 30 yards from goal, right hand side. The ball is 5 yards in field. Short ball to Yates in the centre of the park, and now Manchester United have got numbers back. But again, when Alanga first broke down that left hand side, you worried for Manchester United.
Yeah, I think he wanted the 1-2 from Awoniyi and he should have got it. He would have been in, but Awoniyi turned out and played the opposite side, and Manchester United will be thankful for that.
Forest looking confident and composed. Manchester United have the ball though. Dorgu, with 20 minutes gone, has to go backwards once again to De Ligt. This is the 16th Premier League meeting between these sides. Manchester United have won 10, Forest only 3, and 2 draws. Forest in control at the moment, despite Manchester United having far more of the ball. Reminds me of Leicester as well when they won the Premier League, in the sense that they're not afraid to be a top half Champions League contender and play a game, win a game with 30-40% of the ball.
Yeah, no, they show good humility. They all get back into their roles. Look at Alanga now, he's in the left back position, and it's just team ethic and work rate and fair play to him. Nuno's got them really well organised. It's obviously a better version of how they're doing in the league, but it's reminiscent of how we used to be at Wolves. And I know the formations can differ, but it's the same principles. They're just really hard working and hard to break down.
Manchester United's last visit here was their 1-0 FA Cup 5th round win in February 2024. Casemiro, who's on the ball now, got a late winner in that game. The Brazilian goes square to Yoro, and now Xerxes has it. He spreads it out dangerously to Dalot on the right hand side. That was a slightly better ball in, but Murillo deals with it and slices it away. And then Gibbs White felt he was fouled on the counter attack, but no whistle, and so the ball falls to Garnacho. Second opportunity here for Manchester United. Dalot and Garnacho combine well. Immediately Williams is back to block the cross, and then there's Yates to bring the ball away. Forest are always so alert, aren't they? They'll block or they'll win a first ball and then it'll bounce somewhere, and they just look sharper to that second ball. Yeah,
they get really narrow and really compact as well, so their body's always around when the ball's dropping and bouncing around in places. But we're just seeing a replay of that goal, and wow, it's the first touch from Alanga with the studs of his left foot. Arguably the hardest first touch you can do in football is with your weaker foot and use the studs. So for him to do that, keep driving, then finish it with his left foot, fair play to him. Brilliant goal. Brilliant finish, is 6th in the Premier League. 23 minutes gone. Manchester United looking to hit back. Casemiro back to Mazraoui, who crosses over the halfway line, looking for options. Movement in front of him is a bit static, and then it's given away in the centre of the park by Man United. Lovely touch there by Gibbs White to Alanga again, who surges into the area, and on this occasion he just didn't realise that Casemiro was tracking him, and the Brazilian able to just nudge Alanga off the ball when it looked like maybe we would get a repeat of the opening goal. Yeah, Casemiro's done really well there, because De Ligt was backing off. He was scared for his life. He just knew Alanga would skip by him. So Casemiro, just timely intervention there to save Manchester United. Bruno will be very thankful. He gave the ball away very cheaply in midfield. 23 minutes gone. Forest 1, Manchester United 0 on Premier League Live. Ben Jacobson-Hogan from chipped forwards by Manchester United down the right, looking for Garnacho, who is probably the most intrepid of the Manchester United forward line at the moment. Bruno Fernandes, other than the actual two chances, the header where he couldn't generate power and the snapshot from the edge of the area, on the ball in open play, hasn't really got involved. No, it just looks like the Forest team and defenders are too strong for him. They're too physical. That's not when Garnacho is at his best. He wants to feel no pressure on him from defenders, and don't get me wrong, that's not a good place to be at, especially when you're playing in the most physically demanding league in the world, you know.
Manchester United, sorry Hogan, have got a bit of space here as Garnacho able to gain about 15-20 yards, got right at the edge of the area, then took a heavy first touch, and it's going to be a foul here as Garnacho, after taking a heavy first touch, left a foot in, seemingly going for the errant ball on Yates, and he might be lucky not to get a yellow card here, Garnacho.
Yeah, it was a foul, but I don't think he was going to give it until the reaction referee is very late in giving it. Poor run from Garnacho. The touches were heavy. You compare that with the goal Elanga scored, how clean every touch was. But I was going to say I prefer him on the right because you just simplify his game. He doesn't have the decision whether to use the overlap, whether to shoot, whether to play a 1-2 with a front man. He just has to get down the outside and deliver. This time he's ran inside, and yeah, his dribbling ability isn't the cleanest.
Yates is doing what all players do when they're fouled and pulling off the shin pad and showing the wound. He's got the decision, but I think he's making a point without making a point that maybe a yellow card should have been showed here by the referee Jared Gillett, but it hasn't, and Forest will have a free kick deep inside their own half. Yates is still down on the ground. You'll obviously be aware of this because you played the game. I learned only 2 weeks ago, magic spray, there's no antiseptic in it. It's just ice water to shock your body. It's like a placebo.
I didn't know that, but I was a hard man. I never got injured.
And if you did, you never asked for the spray.
Exactly. You don't need to spray when you're on a stretcher.
There were two things I genuinely didn't know in football. One was what is in this so-called magic spray, and two, how the newer white referee spray actually disappears. Because it's magic, nobody will tell me. Back underway here, Forest free kick deep inside their own half. Yates is okay and moving freely and seemingly without that magic spray. Sells' long free kick though is picked up by Manchester United in the centre of the park, and Bruno Fernandes will just dink it out neatly there to Garnacho, who was hugging the right touchline but now starts to run in field. He's being policed by Danilo. Dallo on the overlap, his cross is blocked by Nico Williams, and Manchester United will have another corner.
Yeah, the touch from Xerxes in the build-up was unbelievable. Honestly, the ball bouncing into him and he just caressed it with the outside of his right foot into the path of Ugarte. It was fabulous play. He's shown some really good touches so far.
Can Manchester United capitalise with a set piece? Lenny Yoro is forwards. Corner kick is on the far right hand side. De Ligt is by the penalty spot. Yoro is to his left. Xerxes at the near post. Bruno Fernandes to deliver, and it was Dallo with the header. It's off the bar. De Ligt can't force in the rebound, and now there's a whistle and a foul as Sells is down. But Dallo originally getting a looping header from around the 6-yard area. It beat Sells, but back off the bar, and then De Ligt was at the back post, and he was just trying to kind of pass it down into the ground, but I think he was caught between whether to fine Yoro or someone in the 6-yard area or just hammer it, and he doesn't make clean enough contact to do either in the end. Sells comes out and punches it away, and as he does so, he's fouled by Lenny Yoro, who was diving to try and make contact on the ball.
Yeah, they've had a little bit of joy with that out-swinging corner from Bruno Fernandes. Dallo found himself in the same position Casemiro was when he missed the header. Decent header that from Dallo. It's off the crossbar, but once it's fallen to De Ligt, he has to do better than that. The connection was shocking. Honestly, he needed it near his head, De Ligt. Once it fell to his feet, there was always going to be trouble.
Yeah, you only really do that sort of deft little pass if you got a gaping goal.
Yeah.
But Sells actually, to his credit, had the goal covered.
Yeah.
So the only way De Ligt's going to score is if he just hits it with conviction.
He has to trust his technique, and he has to go side on and laces through the ball. To try and half volley a ball with the inside of your foot at that bouncing height, no chance.
Arsenal 1, Fulham 0. It's the makeshift striker Mikel Merino again. So bad news that for Forest, although they won't really care, will they, if they finish second or third?
No, I don't think they will. It would obviously be nice to finish as high as possible, but they'd snap your hand off if you offer them third right now.
So 1-0 to all the home sides at the moment. Arsenal 1, Fulham 0. Wolves 1, West Ham United 0. And here at the City Ground, Nottingham Forest 1, Manchester United 0 on Premier League Live. Hello to all of our listeners in Ireland, America, Canada, and all across the world. We've got some in Ghana as well. Ashley listening online in Belgium, Martin in Ireland. Don't forget, along with shout-outs via @TalkSport Live, you can send us a photo as well. We'd like to see what you're eating for your dinner. You watching the game and listening to us? Are you spending the evening with your family? Or, of course, the afternoon if you're in North Central or South America. Here's Casemiro on the halfway line. That's a well-weighted ball to Garnacho, who takes it in his stride, cuts in field, lays it off to Bruno Fernandes, space to shoot, and that was a real opportunity, but also good block by Murillo on the edge of the area. It ricochets to Dalot. His cross again is blocked. Bruno Fernandes wins the 50-50 well. Casemiro, that's a neat diagonal ball to Garnacho, edge of the area. He was looking for space to shoot. Bruno Fernandes dummies it. Agate a bit slow to react, but he does pick it up and finds Dalot. Manchester United doing well to keep this move alive here. They have the ball on the right hand side. Casemiro loops one into Dorgu, who kind of half won the header, but ultimately was not able to get clean enough contact on it, and eventually Elanga will bring the ball away and be fouled in the process by Mazraoui, and finally Forest have some respite. But that was better from Manchester United. Yeah,
it was good pressure. They were probing in the final third, but Nottingham Forest, they're the best in the league at that. When Bruno Fernandes just gets half a yard to shoot, bodies are flying at him to block the shot. They defend their goals so well. It's a joy to watch.
Forest disciplined at the back, clinical at the other end. Forest 1, Manchester United 0. Nuno Espirito Santo venturing into his technical area for the first time. He's been sitting down for much of the game. Ruben Amorim is more like Bielsa, he fidgets all game.
Surely Milenkovic would have to be up there as the signing of the season, you'd think. It's been incredible. Not sure what the fee was, somewhere between in and around 15 million I think it was, and yeah, he's been absolutely outstanding.
32 minutes gone, and Nottingham Forest with Ola Aina, whilst Hogan was speaking, have won themselves a throw in here, level with the edge of the Manchester United area, which is danger because Ola Aina, the 28-year-old, can arrow these into the box. Aina takes a short run up and then almost nonchalantly gains about 20 yards. He was looking for Yates, who got a fraction on it with the back of his head. Bruno Fernandes tries to bring it away, but he's well tackled, and it nearly led to some danger. Milinkovic just slightly overcooked his pass down the right hand side, allowing Manchester United to half clear, but Forest have it again on the right with Anderson 40 yards from goal, and he's caught by Bruno Fernandes, and that's a free kick right in front of the two managers on the halfway line, 5 yards infield, 45 yards from goal.
Yeah, there's a little bit of frustration there from Bruno Fernandes. He's given the ball away on 2 occasions. I don't think he enjoys playing in one of the further 2 positions in the 2 number 10 roles. I think that he wants to be in the midfield, getting the ball off the back 3 and being able to dictate from there. I think it demands a lot of dribbling in those 10 roles, and that's not an attribute he possesses. He possesses a load of others, but not dribbling.
33 minutes gone. Half time in the other games that kicked off earlier. Arsenal 1, Fulham 0, Wolves 1, West Ham 0. Forest go route 1, diagonal ball inside the area, and De Ligt, even though he wasn't under that much pressure, kind of just stepped on the ball there, and because the angle that he was at, the clearance ends up going behind, and it's a bit of a soft corner conceded, and a chance for Forest to use their what I think looks like a height advantage, with Yates being quite tall, and Wanyi's good in the air, Milinkovic is up, Murillo capable of a header as well, and Elanga trots over to applause the goal scorer to take this corner. Forest's first corner of the game, Elanga goes short, it's on the far left hand side, cross comes in, looking for Milinkovic, he won the header but can only guide it straight to Onana, who bowls it out to Fernandes, and that's a superbly weighted ball to Garnacho, and Manchester United nearly had a counter-attack, but Williams just stuck with Garnacho and makes the challenge. And maybe Garnacho needed to be a bit more alert there, and not only does Williams win the challenge, but who's there? Elliot Anderson to mop up the loose ball.
Yeah, he's really struggling, Garnacho, and he'll do well to make it out for the second half if this continues. But what a pass it was from Bruno Fernandes. Fantastic to set him away. But if you just saw the runs from the Nottingham Forest players, you're seeing Danilo, Morgan Gibbs White head down, just straight in the centre of the pitch, running back, making sure there's no gaps in the middle.
It's interesting because when we were speaking before the game and we were looking at the projected lineups, it looked like Garnacho might go left and up against Aina, and we actually thought he'd stand a better chance against Williams, but instead Garnacho started right and Williams has had his number.
Yeah, massively had his number. He's just such a frustrating player to watch, Garnacho, because there'll be moments that he can do things that you don't expect. Olarena's gone down here.
Yeah, Aina on the ground, and sometimes the innocuous ones are the worst, and he's hunched as it stands and holding what looks to be the left calf area, possibly even his ankle. Langer was surging forwards for the goal from deep inside his own half. Garnacho didn't foul him, and Elanga had the composure to give Forest the early lead. With 10 minutes to go until the break, it's Forest 1, Manchester United 0. There is a question mark though still at the moment with Ola Aina, who is down on the ground receiving a bit of treatment, and that should just add to a few stop-start moments that will likely lead to 3 or 4 minutes of added time.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it is that Olarena's done, but I'm guessing it has to be something, because he's gone down in a dangerous position. Manchester United had the ball, didn't need to kick it out, and he's gone down, and like you said, his hand went straight to his left calf. He's trying to stretch it out now. That would be a massive blow for Nottingham Forest if he had to come off.
Aina's got up to his feet but is walking a little bit gingerly. He is a free agent at the end of the season, although there's recent suggestions from local media that a new 2-year deal with a 1-year option might be signed. And I'm not so sure that Aina will be able to continue here. He's massaging the left sort of calf area, but there is some concern on the Forest bench here.
I would say if you're ever going into a summer to be a free agent, have the season that Olarena's having, because he's been absolutely amazing. But I agree with you, he's struggling big time here.
So we wait and see. Forest have to be forced into a change. For now, play is going to resume and they'll be down to 10 men. Manchester United gain the ball and they will slow things down on the halfway line with De Ligt. Yoro, who had a number of early touches but has been less involved in the last 10 or 15 minutes. Dallo, though, has been more involved down the right hand side. Dallo and Yoro interchange, and you may hear a warm round of applause, which tells you that Ola Aina does return to the field. In fact, he's going down the tunnel. He briefly stood by the sideline, got a bunch of applause. It looked like he was going to come on, but he's actually going to be helped off through the tunnel, and now I think Forest are going to make a change.
You called it straight away. It's them innocuous ones. For him to go down like that, something had to have been up.
He was back up on his feet. His sock was down. He was massaging the calf. It looked like he might come on. And then, of course, you've only got 4 or 5 minutes until half-time. Maybe you can assess it. But now he's gone down the tunnel. And Manchester United looking to take advantage at the moment of 10 men. Casemiro was trying to play a little 1-2 just inside the area. And he actually fell to the ground, but the referee, Jared Gillett, was unmoved.
Yeah, he's not complaining, Casemiro, so that tells you he was trying to buy a penalty there.
Casemiro spreads it to Dallo on the right hand side. First time cross. Xerxes and Dorgu were kind of in each other's way, and Forest are able to once again defend very well. Can only really think of one instance, which was the unmarked Bruno Fernandes header, where Forest centre-backs haven't dealt with balls into the box relatively easily. I suppose you could say the Dallo glancing header in a crowd as well, which hit the bar, which was Manchester United's closest chance. But generally, if Man United are just going to lump it in from 30 yards, the Forest centre-backs are going to deal with that all day long.
Yeah, no, that's food and drink for them. They'll eat that up all day long. Looks like a double change.
Yeah, surprising. We're going to see Danilo depart, as well as Ola Aina. And it will be a double change as on come Morato and also Alex Moreno.
That's because they'll go a three at the back now. They'll go Nico Williams as the right wing back with Alex Moreno as the left wing back. And then Morato will join the two other centre-halves, I presume. Yep, Nico Williams just came over straight away.
You're absolutely right, Hogan. Superb spot. And Danilo effectively sacrificed. Nothing wrong with him. Double change as Manchester United have the ball. Casemiro to Garnacho. Dallow's cross. Dorgu's header. And he was just unfortunate because the ball was slightly behind him, and it kind of just hit his head. And now Elanga comes on the counter-attack. Superb turn, storming down the right-hand side. We've seen him central, left and right, and every single time he's sauntered past players. That time it was Mazraoui, but in the end Elanga just had too much to do down that right-hand side, and Manchester United able to clear their lines.
Wow, that was electric, honestly. I've got to say, fair play to Danilo as well. He got subbed off and there was no sulking. He's gone off straight away, clapping the fans, and that's a harsh one, to get to around the 39th minute and be subbed off for no reason when he was having a decent game.
Now Ryan Yates is down. Bruno Fernandes, the player that Yates says fouled him. Referee Jared Gillett wants a word.
Yeah, Ryan Yates thinks Bruno Fernandes put a hand in his face here. There is a little slap as well. I don't think it's much that VAR will get involved in, but he's definitely had a little slap at him.
I think Fernandes slapped it as the players shake hands, because Yates, to begin with, kind of leant into him as the two were tussling off the ball.
Yeah.
And again, they have a little push. Forest have a throw-in meanwhile. The incident took place before the ball came into play, and that's why Jared Gillett wanted a word. And finally Williams puts the ball in, and Lenny Yoro will come away with it from the throw-in and go square to Dallow. Manchester United with 4 minutes before the break plus added time to try and get back into it, and now with the Aina injury we might even get 5 or 6 minutes of added time. United go long down the right hand side. Moreno's first involvement is to get there ahead of Garnacho and concede a throw-in.
Well, it'll be interesting to see, because Nottingham Forest now, they've gone to the three at the back and they've matched Manchester United up in formations. And whenever Manchester United come up against a team with the same formation, they've gone on to lose, and they've been terrible. I done the game with you against Wolves on Boxing Day, I think it was. They were poor there. They lost at home to Palace, who played the same formation. They've never been able to get to grips with it. So I don't know if Ruben Amorim's had a think about that and whether he will have a slight little change at half-time.
I think the only interesting thing is that Moreno's gone in a back three on the left-hand side, and pace-wise, that's a better matchup for Garnacho.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. He's not the best defender in the world, Moreno, but he can definitely go through the gears.
So Morata and Alex Moreno have both come on. Injury to Ola Aina. It looked like the left calf, and Danilo sacrificed. And now Nottingham Forest and Manchester United both playing a 3-4-3. Anthony Elanga is the difference between the two sides. Early goal, storming run from inside his own half. Garnacho should have fouled him, didn't. Elanga kept going and going and going. Two came to him. Could have used a little overlap with Gibbs White, but instead decided to go alone. Iwanyi was also in a great position too, but Elanga only had eyes for goal, and it proved to be the correct decision as he guided it into the right hand corner, and Forest lead by a 1-0. Manchester United's best chance, Diego Dallo, looping header at the near post from a corner which hit the bar, and then De Ligt should have done better with the rebound. 43 minutes on the clock. Bit of niggle all of a sudden to the game as well.
There is. Yeah, and the longer this game goes on at 1-0, the likes of Ugarte and Bruno Fernandes will really get frustrated, because Nottingham Forest, they're streetwise. They know how to run the clock down, and they can be annoying to play against.
6 minutes, I understand, of added time are expected here, and about 90 seconds of regular time too. Forest would love a second goal just for comfort, because Manchester United have looked dangerous in parts, just without any real final product. Bruno Fernandes had an early long-range effort which Sells turned behind, and has had a header inside the box from about the penalty spot, but it was straight at Sells with no power. Casemiro's had a header off target too. Williams on the right hand side now for Forest, who go long. De Ligt is there, not the best clearance. Elanga couldn't quite control it though. and that means although Forest regain possession, Williams has to go back, and Milinkovic will guide it all the way back to Sells, who's being pressed a little bit but goes long down the right hand side. It's going to be too long for Yates or Elanga, and Dorgu takes the ball over the halfway line on the Manchester United left. Garnacho has switched sides to still slightly bafflingly be matched up against Williams when actually there's a logic he should be on the right.
Yeah, no, he is just so frustrating, Garnacho, honestly. He acts as though he had all the time in the world there. You're playing Nottingham Forest away, who fight and scrap for everything, and you think you've got time to take a touch after touch after touch and get your head up. It's just mind-boggling.
I just don't understand why Amorim would choose to switch him now, minutes before half-time, to the left from the right, so he's against Williams again, the one player who's struggled all game. Why wouldn't you put pressure on the substitute?
Yeah, no, absolutely. You're spot on. I got a feeling he's done it off his own accord, to be honest, because Bruno was still over that side as well, and it was very lopsided. There was just a load of bodies on the left.
6 minutes of added time. De Ligt just clashed with Awoniyi and seemingly shoved him in the back, but De Ligt's come off the worst here. I think that should be a Forest free kick. We'll wait and see what the officials give, but De Ligt worse for wear. Awoniyi's down as well, just grabbing his right knee, but De Ligt's got up and is limping, may have just got a dead leg. It does look like he's going to be able to run it off. But I think De Ligt was challenging for a ball there, and Awoniyi was in front of him and just got shoved in the back, so it should be a Forest free kick. Yeah,
they've got the free kick here. It's a bad trait of that De Ligt. He tries to win every ball and thinks he can win every ball. Sometimes you have to accept you can't get there.
Forest free kick, short to Gibbs-White, who then delivers towards the back post with plenty of pace. Milinkovic wins the first header, and a second header comes in from Morata, the substitute. And even though there wasn't much on it, it was just dipping onto the bar, and Onana had to watch it all the way and is able to gather the ball. Half a chance there though for the sub.
Yeah, it was. The loop he got on it as well. He was thinking it was going to cause a little bit more of a problem for Onana, but he ends up dealing with it. His distribution was shocking, but I think Nottingham Forest can use set plays as a big way to get at Manchester United today.
Half-time coming up in about 4 minutes' time. The other games that kicked off 15 minutes earlier just getting underway again. Arsenal 1, Fulham 0. Mikel Merino with the goal in that game, and Strand Larsen the difference between Wolves and West Ham. Wolves taking another big step towards safety if they can get 3 points in that game. Manchester United have got 4 minutes or so to get back in this before the break, and Lenny Yoro has the ball on the halfway line. It's a short pass to Dalot, and now back to Yoro, who's under some pressure from Awoniyi. Manchester United have had nearly 70% of the ball and 9 attempts on goal. Forest have only had 3, and yet it has been quite comfortable for Nottingham Forest in terms of how they've defended. Casemiro tries a little no-look looping pass intended for Xerxes. Murillo is there, and he'll just guide it with his head back to Sells, who unsurprisingly falls on the ball and wastes a bit more time.
Yeah, well, Bruno Fernandes puts his hand up straight away. He knows that he should have made the run because him and Casemiro have that connection. It's how they got the penalty for the first goal against Sociedad. Casemiro flipped it over the top for Bruno to give to Højlund to get fouled.
Awoniyi backs into De Ligt in order to win the ball, but can't find a teammate. Agate, who's been a virtual ghost, finds Xerxes. Lovely first touch to Garnacho, who can't get past the wall of Milinkovic, who slides in and makes the challenge. But again, when the ball was first played, you thought Garnacho's in, and the first touch was heavy.
Shocking. Absolutely shocking. I have to say, some of the touches from Xerxes today has been out of this world. He's linked it up beautifully with the midfield. And Garnacho there has to be cleaner with his touch. And I know people talk about he's a young kid, he's young in age but not in experience. He played a lot of football, Garnacho, and he has to be better than that.
This is what Manchester United see in Xerxes, not just his goal scoring ability but the way that he can link up all of the front line, and he's shown that with a few promising moments in the first half that have gone unrewarded.
Well, you think in that 10 position the sort of player you would want, let's just say Elanga for example, we've seen his running power today and his speed. If Xerxes laying little balls off like that to him, how threatening they could be. It's definitely an area I think they'll be looking in the market for this summer, those number 10 positions.
Into the final 90 seconds of this first half, plenty of talking points. As here's Casemiro on the halfway line, possibly Manchester United's last chance. Short ball to Ugarte. Uruguayan lays it off to Dalot, who's hugging the touchline on the right hand side. Back to De Ligt. Manchester United need a bit of urgency here. Only around a minute or so to go. Now they switch the play to the left hand side, and Dorgu brings it down well on the edge of the area, lays it off to Bruno Fernandes. Yates is straight in his face. It's half cleared to Mazraoui, and now Bruno Fernandes picks it up again. Elanga staying tight, and that gets the applause of the home faithful as Manchester United pressed all the way back into their own half with 60 seconds of the first half to go. Casemiro over the top looking for Dalot, who may have had his shirt pulled. He gets to it and has to check back to Garnacho. Bruno Fernandes sweeps it to Dorgu inside the Forest area. Back to Bruno Fernandes. He'll lay it off to Casemiro, who pulls the trigger, and it gets jeered, hit with power, no direction, and it's about 5 yards wide.
Yeah, it looked a decent chance that when Bruno got it out to Dorgu, you're just willing him to whip it across the face of goal. But again, I don't think they fancy themselves in and around the 6-yard box today. They know that it's going to have to be a shot from distance, from a Bruno, from a Casemiro. Just got that all wrong there. Miles off target.
And that should just about take us to half-time at the City Ground. Forest 1, Manchester United 0. Goal kick to Nottingham Forest. 6 minutes of added time are up. Sells to take the goal kick. Referee Jared Gillett looks at his watch. There is the half-time whistle. Anthony Elanga's early goal. A superb one-man counter-attack. The difference between the two sides. Stormed forwards like a train and eventually guided the ball to the bottom left-hand corner. Meanwhile, Manchester United have had more of the ball, more chances. They've hit the bar through Diego Dalot, but they haven't found a breakthrough. Ola Aina's also gone off injured in a first half with a fair amount of drama, and Nottingham Forest's superb season continuing. Elanga's goal on 5 minutes. At the break, it's Nottingham Forest 1, Manchester United 0 on Premier League Live.
From Terminal 2 to two-storey houses, compact apartments to corporate headquarters, your bedroom, your kitchen, your office canteen, most every room that you've ever been. If these walls could talk, they could tell you who made them. So we'd like to share with you that little detail. We're the walls and the ceilings in the best Irish buildings. We're Gyprock for plaster and plasterboard systems. Gyprock, making the difference.
Is fúne atá sé leictreachas a úsáid bhealach níos cliste agus níos glise. Ag Electric Ireland, táimeadn seach an tróir a thuirteart. Le faisnéis fleanan a méidir cliste, tálaí EV agus panel chréine in our net zero hub nua. Déan d'úsáid níos soléire, tuiris níos glise, baile níos teolaí agus saol níos giile. Tuilleadh eolais ag electricireland.ie.
Don't you da 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 dee da 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 da. At 123.ie we now offer van insurance, so you can forget about us and remember the more important things, like the words. 123.ie. Give better a try. Acceptance criteria, T's and C's apply. 123 Money Limited, trading as 123.ie, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland. RSA Insurance Ireland DAC provides 123.ie van insurance.
You know all about total football. Fast, fluid, connected, game-changing. Now the LiveScore Bet app brings you the total betting experience. It's everything you love about LiveScore. Scores and stats play beautifully alongside great odds, offers, free-to-play games, and a slick bet builder. Everything in one place. Less app hopping, more action. Switch your play with LiveScore Bet today. New customers can enjoy €50 in free bets when they bet €10 on sport.
Boom. What's up, soccer fans? Thanks for hanging out with us this morning, this afternoon, this evening, whatever time it is, wherever you're watching from. I am your host, Mike. Some call me TSI Mike, some call me SOP Mike. We're live today on Sons of a Pitch Soccer Central for Manchester United against Nottingham Forest. It's going to be a fun one today, even though the game really doesn't matter. When you look at the table, Nottingham Forest at third place with 54 points. And Manchester United sitting in a lowly 13th place with 37 points. I think we're safe with relegation. Don't have to worry about that. But trying to get to those Europa League spots is probably not going to happen either. So this game is pretty much meaningless, but we're glad you're here hanging out with us. Please hit the like button down below and share this link out. Let's get more fans here in the chat, and let's help build an awesome community for Manchester United fans here on YouTube. That's what I do at Toronto Sports Insider. That's why you see the Final Four hoodie here. We're getting ready for the Final Four and the Bracket Mania coverage with Toronto Sports Insider. But hey, with Sons of a Pitch Soccer Central, we're doing the same type of deal, but around soccer and Manchester United. So make sure you check out True Killer on Discord and X if you play EAFC. Even if you don't, check out the TikTok at SOPTrue on TikTok. The link is in the description as well as pinned in the chat. We are going to be doing a lot of growing on our TikTok with SOP True. We're going to be doing all kinds of clips from EAFC when rank ones come in. Like, speaking of which, as I'm recording this, before we insert this into live, True is finishing up the rank one for this week right now. So if you want your team to get a rank one and get those awesome rewards and get ready for Team of the Season, which is coming up very, very soon, the coin market is so cheap right now. You can build a team in a day with playing maybe 15 games max in a week. You will have a team ready to go. Send a message over to True on Twitter or Discord, X, whatever you want to call it. He'll turn your team into gold within seconds. But hey, gold cards aren't good right now. We get that. Anyways, watch out. I do the trading stuff. I build the teams. I put the team together. True goes and executes. SOPSC, a lot of footage coming up really soon on that as well. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. We've got to get to the soccer game. England, thank you for finding us. We'll see you in the chat. Go Manchester United, go. Let's get a result today, eh, boys? Come on, let's go. Come on.
League football, of course, so they want to hold on to these 3 points. And how they get to grips with Nottingham Forest's change in formation, that will be interesting to see.
Yeah, you said it in commentary that perversely, even though Ole Einar's a big loss for Nottingham Forest, the repercussion is Forest are now playing a 3-4-3, same as Manchester United, and your gut feeling, having watched them all season, is that actually makes it harder for Manchester United.
Yeah, I've struggled to see how Manchester United will break them down. Garnacho has been very disappointing. Whether they would look to bring on Rasmus Højlund now and maybe drop Xerxes back into one of the number 10 positions, which he's been doing recently, that's an option, but it's going to be so tough to break down this Forest team. When they defend with 4 at the back, they're resolute, but with the back 3, I mentioned about Nuno when he was at Wolves and he had the back 3 and they were really solid and resolute. So yeah, it's going to be tough for Manchester United, but they need to try and keep their cool. We've seen Ugarte, Bruno Fernandes slightly lose their head a little, and they don't need that.
It's funny because you look at the Manchester United bench, and you're absolutely right in the point you make about Rasmus Højlund, but the other player on there that should be suited to this system, and much like we've seen with the likes of Morgan Gibbs-White or Anthony Elanga on the Forest side, in that central area perhaps can unlock the door, Mason Mount. But unfortunately, due to injury, form, confidence, we've not yet seen it at Manchester United. But could he be a player to make an impact in the second half?
Massively. I actually thought before the game Mason Mount would start today. I thought you would start him today, he wouldn't be involved against Manchester City, and then you'd have a choice to make whether he started the game away at Lyon or not. Because Ruben Amorim, when he's spoken about him, speaks glowingly of Mason Mount. He loves the work rate, he loves the quality. He obviously knows the formation well from his time at Chelsea with Thomas Tuchel. So yeah, he's someone who could definitely come on and have an impact. And Manchester United, they've got the Europa League in mind, so they have to get Mason Mount minutes at some stage. So I'd expect to see him on, whether it's now or within the next 15 minutes of the second half.
And the other bright spot for Manchester United, even though we've not seen much impact specifically in the Forest box, but everywhere else on the field, a relatively solid and encouraging half from Joshua Zirkzee.
Yeah, and he's been really good in recent weeks, honestly. When he first came to Manchester United, I was thinking, this guy, he's not ready for Manchester United. And I probably wrote him off quicker than I've wrote off any Manchester United signing before, and trust me, there's been some bad ones. But he's really come into his own. He's shown a fight, a desire, a hunger, and some of the touches are brilliant. He lacks the pace to be a real killer, but he's really good at linking the play, and I think he works well for them.
Do you expect then, Ruben Amorim, if I put you on the spot, to make a change now at half-time, or give it another 20 minutes or so?
I'm going to go, he'll give it till the 55th, 60th minute. I don't think he'll do it now, just because he knows they're in a decent run of form. They've got huge games coming up, and he doesn't want to kill anyone's confidence.
More from Hogan in just a moment. Second half is coming up very shortly. A reminder, Arsenal 1, Fulham 0, Wolves 1, West Ham United 0. Those games kicked off 15 minutes earlier and are also available online. But our focus is the City Ground. Second half coming next. At the break, Forest 1, Manchester United 0 on Premier League Live.
The curse of the early kickoff. Not with Live Score Bet. Because we have you covered with money back if your bet loses as a free bet up to €10. Available on all markets every Premier League Saturday 12:30 match this season. You won't want to miss another early kickoff. Live Score Bet. Total betting. First pre-match cash bet placed from 9 a.m. Friday before selected match each week. Bar price boosts. Use free bet in 7 days. T's and C's apply. Bet responsibly. 18+. Gamblingcare.ie.
I can't stop myself, Doctor. I'm just a weak man. But it feels so good. It's so easy and quick. Ever since I discovered Chadwick's online, it's been a game changer. Chadwick's do everything. I started ordering a few tools to fix a few jobs around the house, but that wasn't enough. I ordered more from Chadwick's. The jobs got bigger, the tools got stronger. My kitchen's like a workshop and I'm halfway through and at the conversion. I need help, Doctor. Because it's a two-man job. Will you give us a hand? Shop online now at chadwicks.ie. Click, search, done.
From Terminal 2 to two-story houses, compact apartments to corporate headquarters, your bedroom, your kitchen, your office canteen, most every room that you've ever been. If these walls could talk, they could tell you who made them. So we'd like to share with you that little detail. We're the walls and the ceilings in the best Irish buildings. We're Gyprock for plaster and plasterboard systems. Gyprock, making the difference.
Is fúne atá sé leictreachas a úsáid bhealach níos cliste agus níos glise. Ag Electric Ireland, táimeadn seach an tróir a thuirteart. Le faisnéis fleanan a méidir cliste, tálaí EV agus panel chraine in our net zero hub nua. Déan d'úsáid níos soléire, turis níos glise, baile níos teolaí agus saol níos giile. Tuile eolais ag electricireland.ie.
If you drive a van, every hour on the road counts. So, in the morning, a non-starting battery really is a non-starter. Luckily, 123 Van Insurance has benefits like breakdown assist that won't affect your no-claims bonus. So, you can forget about us and think about the more important things. Like beating the traffic? Don't get me started. Oh, actually, do. Acceptance criteria, T's and C's apply. Breakdown assist included in all van policies. 123 Money Limited, trading as 123.ie, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland. RSA Insurance Ireland DAC provides 123.ie van insurance.
You're looking good, you're looking sharp.
Righty here. I'm just giving a new Gillette Labs razor a go, and it's smooth. 5 long-lasting blades, and it's got a flex disc that adapts to my gorgeous face. Done in no time, then it goes back on its magnetic stand. For a finish almost as good as one of mine. And if you don't agree it's the ultimate shave, get your money back.
The best a man can get.
18 plus, retain receipt, terms and conditions apply.
Premier League Live, good evening. Ben Jacobs and Hogan Ephraim with you. Half-time at the City Ground, Nottingham Forest 1, Manchester United 0. 5 minutes, the opening goal and only of the game saw Anthony Elanga surge over the halfway line and just keep running and running and running. Brilliant finish from Forest point of view. It's a worldie, Hogany, from Manchester United's perspective. There were several moments, but particularly when Garnacho was close to Elanga, where they could have prevented the goal. I know it's not in the spirit of the game, but you've basically just got to foul and then pick up the yellow card, and potentially it would have been 0-0 at half-time.
Yeah, it's one of those goals that you'd mainly see on a training ground where you don't want to foul a teammate and you'll let him go and have the run, but in an actual match, you foul him and you take the yellow card all day long. So there's a lot that Manchester United will be disappointed with the goal, but like you mentioned, from Elanga's point of view, it's just absolutely outstanding. If you can travel 70 yards in a Premier League game with the ball at your feet, that close control, that speed, and then finish it on your so-called weaker left foot, fair play. You've got to take your hat off to him. It was a great goal.
And we were looking during the break at his heat map as well, and he's brought the ball clear from deep. He's had runs down the right and the left. He's had his goal through the centre as well. That was as complete a 45 as you'll see from a footballer in the Premier League.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's got rave reviews this season, Anthony Elanga. And he just probably needed that big moment in a big game. And he's produced that massively, so now he'll get all the acclaim.
Looks like Manchester United are going to make a change at the break. Rasmus Højlund is stripped off. And that was something that Hogan called.
I think it'll be Ugarte going on.
No Mason Mount as yet, but we wait and see as the board is about to go up who Rasmus Højlund will replace. And it is Manuel Ugarte, so that's a very interesting change.
Yeah, I think he'll drop Bruno Fernandes back alongside Casemiro. He'll drop Xerxes back alongside Garnacho, and then Rasmus Højlund will be the focal point. And that's worked well for them recently. Obviously, the second leg against Real Sociedad was when it was at its best, and that was a great night for them. And they'll hope that it can continue now.
Højlund on, Ugarte off, and that is what we expect. I'll run through the teams for you in just a moment, but the expectation is that Højlund leads the line, of course. Xerxes plays deeper. Bruno Fernandes partners Manuel Ugarte. Nottingham Forest, no changes at the break, but they had to make two towards the end of the first half. Morata and Alex Moreno on. Ola Aina injured, we think with a calf problem, and Danilo sacrificed. Both sides are playing a 3-4-3 as a consequence. And the second half is underway. Nottingham Forest kicking from right to left in red and white. Manchester United in their away navy strip with white socks. Rasmus Højlund on, Manuel Ugarte off. And how Højlund would love to find some scoring form in the second half of the season.
I do think in this formation Bruno Fernandes much prefers this deeper role. He likes to see players ahead of him that he can break the lines, and he's also in the early phase of the build-up, he's got that little pause where he can just suck people into him and find someone who's spare.
Højlund does have 8 goals this season, but only 3 of them have come in the Premier League. A minute gone in the second half, and Manchester United have the ball on the left-hand side. Dorgu has to go backwards.
What's interesting is he swapped Mazraoui and Lenny Yoro sides. So Lenny Yoro's now left-sided centre-back. Whether that's anything to do with Elanga, but Elanga looks to have come onto the left now, so I'm not too sure.
Mazraoui, Højlund gets his first touch and will lay it to Garnacho, who had a poor first half. That's a better ball back to Højlund, who tries to make an instant impact. Bit of a cross shot there into the side netting in the end. Højlund thinks he's won a corner there off Murillo. Doesn't look like it's been given. Referee Jared Gillett is now pointing towards the right corner flag. The official on the near side didn't give it originally, but it will be a Manchester United corner. Just the faintest of touches off Murillo. Now there's 2 balls on the field. Referee finally steadying things.
Yeah, it was a lot more positive though from Garnacho. Nice early pass into the penalty box. Good run from Højlund. That's what Xerxes doesn't offer you.
Yeah, and I think Garnacho needs somebody ahead of him like that as a target. Bruno Fernandes with the corner, dinked in towards the 6-yard area, and a header from Casemiro. He kind of had to take a step back, and that affected the power from the ball. He peeled away at the near post, just outside the 6-yard area. For once he's got ahead of Elliot Anderson. Another clean header, but very difficult to generate power, and Sells able to gather.
Yeah, but Nottingham Forest have to be a little bit careful. Those outswing corners from Bruno Fernandes, that's 3 out of 3 Manchester United have got their heads to. Twice Casemiro, once Dalot hit the crossbar. It's just a little warning sign.
Alanga almost helped that on to Taiwo Awoniyi at the other end. Morgan Gibbs-White keeps it alive, and then on the half volley, Yates tried a very appealing looking shot that was hit cleanly. Casemiro in the way, and it spins out for a Forest corner, and it's an end-to-end start to this first half.
Yeah, he's caught that really well, Ryan Yates. It needed to be blocked. I actually thought he was the best player on the pitch in the first half. He was getting out to people, getting in their faces, winning the ball back, and that's where Forest were instigating some counter-attacks.
Anthony Elanga taking his time to trot over to take this corner. The last time he did that, he used it as a decoy, implied he was going to set himself to take the corner long, and then immediately when he arrived at the ball, played a very quick pass after a cumbersome run-up. We'll see whether he changes the approach. It looks like it's going to be put in the box. Elanga with the corner, De Ligt half clears with his head. Williams picks it up on the edge of the area. Back to Elanga, the goal scorer again. That's a decent looking cross. Yates with a header down towards the right-hand corner. And that was a stunning save by Onana. Looks like there's an offside flag anyway, so it wouldn't have counted. But Onana's reaction to get down to his left, whether it would have counted or not, was absolutely sensational. I think Yates was clearly 2 yards offside. Point blank header though, and Onana kept it out.
Yeah, what a delivery it is from Anthony Elanga. But Onana's save was fantastic. He wasn't to know that Ryan Yates was offside. It looked all the while that it was going to be 2-0, but fantastic save, and then the linesman's flag goes up anyway.
Clearly offside.
Yeah.
Plenty of action though. 49 minutes gone. Nottingham Forest 1, Manchester United 0. Given away by United in the centre of the park, and it's picked up by Elliot Anderson, the ex-Newcastle United man. Morgan Gibbs-White, former Wolves player, to Yates, who's caught from behind by Casemiro, and that will be the first yellow card of the game. Casemiro needs to be careful here. He's absolutely fuming with the official Jared Gillett, and of course, having been booked, you could still be booked again for dissent here. So Bruno Fernandes just shepherding Casemiro away. Yates played it first time. He's quite clearly caught. Don't know what Casemiro's complaining about there. It's a yellow card all day long.
Yeah, it's a strange one for Casemiro to be complaining like that. He was incensed with the decision, but I'm not sure why. We mentioned at the end of the first half it got a little bit niggly. Ugarte's obviously been subbed off, but Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes, they can easily lose their heads. They have to keep it together here.
Nottingham Forest with Sells, Milinkovic, Murillo, Morata, Williams, Alex, Moreno, Yates, Anderson, Elanga, Gibbs-White, Danilo and Awoniyi. Aina and Danilo both off as Forest take the free kick. Not the best angle on the ball in, and Garnacho should bring it away, but he's run into Williams, and the ball's found Gibbs-White inside the area, and he was leaning back, and the former Wolves man skies it over the bar. Garnacho nearly putting his side in trouble as he tried to counter-attack down the left, but it's a wild effort by Gibbs-White, and it's not only over the bar, it's also about 5 yards wide.
Yeah, he knows he's a lot better than that, Gibbs-White. I know it's on his left foot, but he's got the technique to have a much cleaner connection. There's so many bodies in the box as well. That's where you're looking at deflections and ricochets that just fall your way.
Manchester United with Onana, Yoro De Ligt, Mazraoui, Diego Dalot, Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes, Dorgu, Garnacho, Xerxes, and the substitute Højlund, who's come on for Ugarte, who joined Manchester United, of course, from PSG, but is also a former Sporting player. And with 51 minutes gone, game is open. Forest will feel they need a second. Manchester United on the ball in the centre of the park, and that's a neat little spin by Dalot to cross over the halfway line and also get away from Yates. He's done brilliant there. Anderson couldn't get a touch either, and it allows Manchester United to switch the ball to Dorgu on the left hand side, but his square ball is cut out by Gibbs-White, and now in this very open game, Gibbs-White frees Elanga, who crosses over the halfway line on the left hand side. He's being forced slightly wide by Dalot, but is able to cut it inside to Yates, who sweeps the ball to Williams by the corner flag on the right hand side. His cross is fired straight against Dorgu, and Forest have to settle for a throw.
I think in that last attack for Manchester United is everything what Ruben Amorim would want, but the wrong players. It's gone up to the striker, who he would want from the right wing back, who he would want switching out to the left wing back and putting Dorgu in. Højlund's not got that in him, so he's had to go back to Bruno Fernandes. Then a terrible pass from Bruno Fernandes into Dorgu, which makes him halt his run, and then him in turn plays a horrible pass too.
Throw-in was taken there by Forest, and then there was a 50-50 between Dorgu and Williams, and it looked like Dorgu kind of leant into the shoulder of Williams. Forest are saying they should have a free kick right on the edge of the area. It's been deemed to be 50-50. One angle it looked bad, another angle that we've just seen, it sort of felt like Williams was losing his balance anyway.
Yeah, I think he's losing his balance, he feels the contact, he ends up going over on his own ankle, but it's no foul.
Manchester United trailing 1-0. After this, they've got the Manchester derby at Old Trafford on Sunday, April the 6th. And then it's the first leg of their quarter-final in the Europa League against Lyon. Nottingham Forest, as we mentioned in the first half, have got to play a lot of teams in the bottom half of the Premier League table. But up next for them, it's a tricky away trip to Aston Villa, followed by a home game against Everton, which isn't easy either, because Everton far better now under David Moyes.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the informed teams in the league.
You sort of sense if Forest can win here, get anything from Villa or Everton, away at Spurs isn't easy either, but then from there they'll play home to Leicester. Last game of the season, they've got Chelsea at home. It remains to be seen whether the race for the Champions League spots will be over by that final game. I think it unlikely. Maybe Forest will have a Champions League spot, but not necessarily Chelsea by that stage. Very tight, as has been shown with Bournemouth, you could argue, who at one point were in the race for Champions League football, still are mathematically, but you look at the league table and they're only mid-table now. Only about 4 points between Champions League football and mid-table mediocrity. 54 minutes gone here at the City Ground. Morgan Gibbs-White has it on the halfway line. Diagonal ball to Elliot Anderson. Back to Gibbs-White again, who skips away from Casemiro. He's 30 yards from goal, goes infield to Anderson. Now out to the left-hand side, and Alex Moreno, whose cross is a bit too short. Casemiro only half clears. Back to Elliot Anderson, who was caught between a shot and a cross, and eventually just scooped in a cross with his right foot. And it's gathered by Onana.
I refuse to believe that Amorim's put Garnacho to the left and Xerxes to the right. He's played the last, since Sociedad away in the first leg, with Xerxes on the left and Garnacho on the right. So this is something they've obviously just done on the pitch, and it's looked shambolic for the last 5 minutes or so. Because we saw how the half started. Garnacho was on the right, playing the pass into Højlund in the box.
Arsenal have doubled their lead against Fulham. Bukayo Saka coming off the bench on his return from injury and scoring a second half goal, a special moment for him, and Arsenal look on course for 3 points against Fulham. A reminder, Wednesday the 2nd of April we've got a whole series of games. I'll come back to that in a moment, as Rasmus Højlund is wrestling for the ball. He won it originally, but then Murillo was able to use his strength to get it back. Gibbs-White possibly caught there by Casemiro inadvertently, and Casemiro's also taken an innocuous knock to the face too. And Forest are basically saying it doesn't matter that after the foul by Casemiro on Gibbs-White he went down with a facial injury, that should be a second yellow card. I think it would be harsh if he got a yellow again. Either way, Casemiro the guilty party, and it's going to be a foul. But after the foul, Gibbs-White with his right arm just caught the ear area of Casemiro.
Yeah, when I originally saw him down, I thought that was his reaction to the referee's decision, and I was thinking he's definitely going to get himself sent off here. But he was caught by the trailing arm of Gibbs-White.
Is that a yellow for Casemiro?
Because of his reaction to the last one, the referee was never going to give him a second yellow for his next foul. But possibly, in general play, that would be a yellow card.
But the referee's not supposed to think, I've already booked him. Each incident's meant to be episodic.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Forest were arguing. Either way, no yellow card. And Nottingham Forest have handed the ball back to Manchester United from their free kick. And Manchester United have it on the far left-hand side with Bruno Fernandes, 30 yards from goal. Rasmus Højlund has been lively so far. Yoro, who's in for the injured Aiden Heaven, although arguably would start on merit now he's fit anyway. Bruno Fernandes on the far left-hand side. And as long as he stays wide out there, it's not his most threatening area. Now Manchester United switch it to the right, and Mazraoui, who goes long down the right-hand side. Dalot gets a bit of luck, then controls it well, gets away from Anderson. Casemiro dinks it towards the back post. Dorgu was coming in with pace, couldn't get his head to it, and then Garnacho tries quite a creative effort as well from a relatively ambitious angle just outside the area, and it was always looking too high. It dips over the goal, over the bar, and hits the red stanchion on the back. Not actually that far away in the end, but it just never looked like it was going to find the target from the moment it left his boot.
Yeah, and that's why he wants to play on the left, because he always wants the wonder goal Garnacho, but his conversion rate's just not good enough. Manchester United are now making a change, bringing on Eriksen for Casemiro. They're worried about him getting sent off.
Christian Eriksen on, like for like swap. Casemiro off. I think you make a great point there that Casemiro's probably only got one more challenge in him. Otherwise, if he did foul, I think that would have been the early bath.
Yeah, for sure. It's not the most mobile midfield too of Eriksen and Bruno Fernandes, but he will probably feel they're having 65% of the ball. There's not going to be too many occasions, and then you'll just be hoping in the breakaways your back three can do a job.
Still no sign of Mason Mount, which when you're chasing a game, albeit with half an hour to go, perhaps a bit of a surprise. I don't think it'll be too long before we see him, as Nottingham Forest come down the left-hand side. Alex Moreno to Awoniyi, who skipped away as he checked back by the byline from Mazraoui, and then when the cross came in, Bruno Fernandes making the point-blank block. Forest felt there was also a foul in the build-up, but to be fair to the referee Jared Gillett, it was a good advantage, and it nearly led to something for Forest.
Yeah, there was actually 3 fouls in the build-up. The Man United players are definitely losing their rag. Dalot's pulled back Moreno. There was a foul on Elanga in the build-up as well. Moreno's also skipped past Mazraoui in the first phase of it, who was fouling him.
Corner to Nottingham Forest, hence why the officials played the advantage. From the near left-hand side, it was a fierce delivery with plenty of whip on it. De Ligt gets his head to it at the near post. Williams picks it up on the right-hand side. Crosses just a little bit too short. Mazraoui deals with it at his near post, and it falls to Elliot Anderson, 30 yards from goal. Elliot Anderson to Yates. Williams now on the right-hand side. Manchester United with plenty behind the ball. In fact, everyone as Forest go backwards. Murillo out to the left-hand side, and the substitute Alex Moreno. Now Gibbs White, 20 yards from goal, just bobbled up as he played that ball forwards looking for Awoniyi, and it allows Manchester United to half clear. Bruno Fernandes can't find a teammate, and Yates picks it up. Elanga now on the left hand side for Nottingham Forest. This is Forest's best spell so far in the second half. Elanga's cross is blocked by Mazraoui, and the Manchester United defender keeps the ball in, and then plays a short ball to Bruno Fernandes, who was caught by Yates. It was a bit of a hospital pass to Bruno Fernandes, and luckily for Manchester United, the Manchester United captain takes the foul, and Yates may be a little bit lucky not to go in the book.
Honestly, the composure and the arrogance to do that on the edge of your own box is scary. And that's what he's got in the initial build-up phase. It's that little pause just before it comes to him where Ryan Yates then thinks I can nick it, and he just slips it through his legs. Unbelievable.
But he kind of had to do that because the ball was so short to him.
Yeah, but I think you'd find 99% of players would have went towards the ball and tried to get their body in between ball and player. He's got so much belief in himself, so much arrogance, that he's just thinking, I'm going to wait that extra split second, suck you in, and then just get it through your legs.
Forest 1, Manchester United 0 on Premier League Live. Hello to everyone listening around the world, in Ireland, Canada, America, and plenty of you in Africa as well listening online. Don't forget, every game is available in the Premier League, the greatest league in the world, as Christian Eriksen has the ball for Manchester United. He lays it off to Dorgu. Now Garnacho gets a touch. Ball on the far left-hand side, back to Yoro. Eriksen again with a short pass back to Yoro, who's trying to do a give and go with Dorgu, but it's given away, and this might be another counter-attack for Nottingham Forest down the right-hand side. Taiwo Iwonyi crosses over the halfway line. Eriksen did well to stay with him, and it forced Iwonyi to check, but Forest still have the ball 35 yards from goal. Manon is the shout to Gibbs White. Garnacho was right behind him. Garnacho frustrated for some reason, and he kind of just stopped, and that allows Forest to go backwards, but now they're back inside their own half, and Manchester United did well on that occasion to stop a counter-attack.
They did. It looked really threatening. That's twice now Iwonyi, I think, can play in Elanga and just let him run into the space, but he doesn't do it, and Manchester United get away with one there. But Garnacho's body language and reaction was terrible. To do that as a young player, he's picked up some bad habits from whether that be teammates or whatnot, because you cannot be getting away with that.
And also now, if you take off Garnacho, unless for example Xerxes maybe goes wide, your only real experienced attacker is Mason Mount, who wants to play centrally. Yeah. So if you feel Garnacho isn't contributing now, it's very difficult to pull him off without putting somebody else out of position. Yeah. Unless, of course, he changes the formation.
You may as well play someone out of position with the way Garnacho has performed today.
Rasmus Højlund has the ball. He will lay it off to Dorgu. Garnacho, maybe he'll prove us wrong and get an equaliser here. He's on the edge of the area left-hand side, hurtling towards the byline, plays it against the feet of Nico Williams and wins his side a corner.
I've never understood that one, when a defender puts the hand up there to claim a goal kick. We've just seen the ball get smashed against your legs.
Yeah, with Garnacho nowhere near.
Yeah. It wasn't one of those ones which was debatable whether it took a double touch.
Manchester United corner, Christian Eriksen to take it on the far left-hand side. Dallo and Xerxes at the back post. Jorin de Ligt right in front of the goalkeeper. Eriksen to deliver, goes for a little Olympico, which is the new sort of fad, hoping for a touch from Yoro. He doesn't get one. Forest 2 feet half clear. Bruno Fernandes has to go all the way back to Anana, and that's well defended by Nottingham Forest with 64 minutes on the clock, and it remains Forest 1, Manchester United 0. That's a better ball though by Manchester United, trying to bend Forest out of shape quickly to Dorgu, who brought it down well but then played a terrible square ball to Eriksen, and Iwonyi was almost in from the clearance there, but de Ligt able to stand tall. Dallo does well under pressure from the substitute Alex Moreno, and now Bruno Fernandes plays a neat diagonal ball, just skids it off the surface out that left hand side, but Garnacho was offside.
He's got to sub him off, he has to.
Garnacho didn't watch the line, he was offside, and then in frustration he kicks the ball away, and Garnacho picks up a needless yellow card.
I think this undermines the manager if he leaves him on. His reaction 2 minutes ago towards his teammates was absolutely disgusting. One of the worst positions to ever be offside. The referee gives it and you just boot the ball away off the pitch. It is absolutely ridiculous.
Yellow card for Garnacho. 65 minutes gone. Not seeing that much movement yet on the Manchester United bench. As we've said a few times now, Mason Mount, the former Chelsea man, would be the most obvious choice, but at this stage haven't seen him warming up too vigorously. Does look like Forest are going to make a substitution though, and that is why you can hear rapturous applause. Nuno Espirito Santo is going to take off Elliot Anderson, who's worked his socks off, and bring on Nico Dominguez, who started the last game. That's a like-for-like swap. Just probably a case of fresh legs.
Yeah, you'd think so. It looks like he's enjoyed the international break, got a little tan.
I think he's always tanned. Never know, might have picked up a bit more tan. Nico Dominguez on, Elliot Anderson off. Third change for Nottingham Forest, a reminder. Alejandro Garnacho has just been booked. Not a good performance by him. Here's Christian Eriksen for Manchester United. He's inside his own half, tries to loop one over the top. It's too short for Garnacho. Dorgu picks it up, back to Eriksen, who threads it through a crowd, and then Højlund is fouled from behind on the halfway line. First contribution of Nico Dominguez is to give away the free kick. It's taken quickly by Manchester United down the left-hand side. Dorgu to Garnacho, who cuts in field. That's a better ball. Bruno Fernandes nonchalantly tried to sweep it onto Xerxes. Didn't make clean enough contact. Gets the second opportunity. Finds Dalot, who fizzes one across the 6-yard area. Dorgu rescues it at the back post but can't find a teammate. And Yates is there again to clear for Forest.
He uses his body so well, Wanye, just so strong. It's reminiscent of watching Mateta at Crystal Palace. Once he backs into you, got no chance.
Nico Dominguez spreads it to Elanga, who's on the right hand side now, skips easily away from both Eriksen and Fernandes, and then plays a diagonal ball to the substitute Alex Morena, who's just inside the area, and feeds it to Gibbs White. Back to Elanga, who's outside the area on the left hand side. Gibbs White, 5 yards in field, still on the edge of the area, to Elanga, who just dinks one up, and Gibbs White might get there first. Well, he nearly did, but in the end just didn't drop to his feet. And Bruno Fernandes, outstanding diagonal ball, and this time Garnacho's first touch is impeccable. He's inside the area, he sets himself, and his cross shot takes a deflection, doesn't quite fall to Rasmus Højlund, and Garnacho has to settle for a corner.
Yeah, Bruno Fernandes, he's putting on the exhibition of passing now. That's 3 that he's gone from right to left. That one's perfect. Garnacho, you're thinking one-on-one here with Ryan Yates. You've got to get a clean shot away, but I don't know why he plays on the left-hand side.
Yates recovered well to make the block, resulting in the corner, but Garnacho's first touch, 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Second touch, it sort of just skids off his shin, and that allows Yates enough time to recover and make the block. Manchester United corner, near right-hand side. Christian Eriksen to take it. Not the best delivery, but it kind of beats everyone and then falls to Garnacho, who tries a first-time shot and once again doesn't quite make the connection that he was looking for. May have taken a little deflection off Gibbs White, but either way, Garnacho kind of dragged it. But I think Manchester United will get another corner here. In fact, it's been given as a goal kick.
I think Garnacho has shown more of his disappointment. He didn't even claim for the corner, so it just helped the referee make his mind up.
I think, although we're quite a way away, that did take a very small deflection off Gibbs White.
For sure. Comes off his shin. That chance when he takes the first touch, what you need to do there as an attacker is you need to go at Ryan Yates with pace. And every time you touch the ball in football, the picture changes. So if you're going to have 3, 4, 5 touches, they've got to be short, sharp ones. He just takes that delay between each touch, and that makes it so much easier for defenders.
Hello to Jeff, who's listening on Sirius XM in Fresno, California. Enjoying the game so far. Good to have your company, Jeff. Hello to everyone in Ireland, Canada, and online all across the world. We've got 20 minutes remaining here. Nottingham Forest 1, Manchester United 0. Ruben Amorim grimacing his teeth. His side have had 66% possession, 15 attempts on goal. Forest have only had 5, and yet in many ways, for much of the game, particularly in open play, Forest have looked comfortable. Manchester United's best opportunities have come either from corners, Diego Dalot hitting the bar, or from deep when Bruno Fernandes has released the ball early. But the outlet he's released it to, particularly on the left, Garnacho, hasn't had a good game. On this occasion, though, Garnacho cuts in field from the left-hand side and is clipped from behind by Neco Williams, and Williams is going to get booked.
Yeah, it's another one that I've never understood with football, when people say it's their first foul. It's a definite yellow card, whether that's your first or your 10th.
Yeah, because he's just stopping Garnacho from cutting in field 30 yards from goal.
It looked like a tyre tackle, that from Neco Williams. But if Forest hold on to win this, what a week it would have been. Beating Brighton in the FA Cup, getting through to the semi-final, and then going that step further in their pursuit of Champions League football. It'd be an unbelievable few days.
And they beat Man City, a game everyone was convinced they might lose. Manchester United free kick, 35 yards from goal, 5 yards in field, far left-hand side. Bruno Fernandes, right hand up in the air, chips it in towards the far post. Forrest half clear. Hoyland gets his head to it, but can only guide it down into the ground and off target. Doesn't even go out of play. Matt Sells dives on the ball and wastes a little bit of time here. Wasn't the best angle really from Bruno Fernandes, and not enough pace, height but not pace, so therefore by the time it fell to Hoyland there wasn't much he could do with it.
No. I'm surprised that Bruno would still be on the free kicks when the likes of Christian Eriksen's come on the pitch. I think he's more of a set piece specialist.
Arsenal 2, Fulham 0. Bukayo Saka amongst the scorers. Wolves 1, West Ham 0. And that is bad news at the bottom of the table for the three newly promoted sides. As it stands, Wolves 17th, 29. Ipswich 17, Leicester 17, Southampton only 9. Tomorrow Ipswich go to Bournemouth. Leicester City away at Manchester City. Here's Garnacho, brings the ball down very well, and a bit like earlier, tried from the same angle from the edge of the area to find the top right hand corner, had plenty of time, had Xerxes on the overlap, and went for goal, which was the wrong choice, and it just isn't well executed.
No, it's selfish. The first touch is absolutely incredible, to be honest, as the ball's bouncing with the bottom of his foot, brings it down. He plays football and he wants to play on the left hand side just to score wonder goals. It's all he is interested in. He wants to come inside and shoot as much as possible. He has one of the worst conversion rates in the Premier League, but he will take 8-9 shots a game. It's absolutely ridiculous, and I think it's so disrespectful to his teammates, and how they and the manager put up with it is beyond me.
And it's sort of fine, isn't it, if you're Liverpool top of the table, lots of quality, confidence, then when you effectively showboat, you perhaps, with a proven track record and form, get away with it. But when you're 13th in the table and 1-0 down, you can't be trying to score a wonder goal with every touch.
I've watched a lot of football over the years, and honestly, Cristiano Ronaldo is the only player I've seen do that on a consistent basis. So for you to be trying that at, I don't know, 20 years of age Garnacho is, it's mind-boggling.
It's such a difficult skill as well, because as soon as you've controlled it from that kind of angle, you're looking to find a postage stamp diagonally in the top right-hand corner, and to do that you set yourself in a way where you are naturally inclined to be leaning back. So the odds are 9 times out of 10, unless you execute it perfectly, you may not hit the target.
Absolutely. And it just makes me wonder, in training he must do it 9 times out of 10, and that's why the players aren't hammering him. I remember being younger and watching Frank Lampard at Chelsea taking free kicks, and he would take them from like 45 yards, and I'm thinking, what are you doing shooting from there? And I'm just thinking, in training you must get him in all the time.
15 minutes to go, long ball over the top. Hoyland does well, he's at the byline, he's still going, he's taken 4 or 5 touches in the area, lays it back to Garnacho, and a very athletic and important block from Neco Williams, who was straight in at Garnacho's feet to block the shot. Is fallen to Bruno Fernandes. Hoyland has made an impact for sure. They've got to find a way of getting him more touches. Out to the right hand side, Dalot just outside the area, cuts it back to Fernandes, loops it to Dorgu, free header. Again, he had to generate quite a lot of his own power from about 7 yards out, and he hits the target, but Sells once again with a comfortable save.
Yeah, he did a lot better than I expected him to do there, Dorgu. Really good leap, and he generated good power on it. Just couldn't get the direction. In the ideal world, you want to be going back across goal.
15 minutes remain, and Awoniyi has laid it off to Gibbs-White, who's still going inside the area. Down he goes. Jared Gillett with a decision to make. Gibbs-White not really appealing. He's down on the ground holding his back. It was such a deft run. There were 4 defenders around him, and Gibbs-White able to keep the ball for so long, and he was just hoping somebody clattered him from behind, but probably not enough in it as he fell to the ground for a penalty. Awoniyi and Gibbs-White though linking up superbly. Referee completely unmoved. And now Manchester United through Garnacho come down the other end. This time Garnacho sweeps the ball to Dalot from left to right. We'll get Hogan's thoughts on the penalty appeal. More from the fans than Forest in a moment. Dallot's cross towards the near post. Hoyland can't quite get there, but he has won another corner. Bit of a lost cause by Hoyland there. Did well to put enough pressure on the Forest defenders, and Manchester United have a corner.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. He's done really well, Hoyland, since he's come on. He's looked energetic, he's looked more lively and robust than he usually is. He had a good game out in his last performance against Leicester and in the game against Sociedad before that, to be honest. And he was in a horrific period of form, so his confidence is building.
Christian Eriksen corner near right hand side towards the penalty spot, half cleared by Morata. Garnacho picks it up just outside the area. Yates comes across. Garnacho able to find Dorgu, who crosses first time. Williams glances it half clear, and Alanga's going to be pulled from behind by Eriksen because there was a counter-attack on. Yellow card to Eriksen. I tell you something, if you're Eriksen, usually you don't make that little tug foul, because guess what? Alanga's 70 yards from goal, but the last time he was 70 yards from goal, he scored.
Yeah, it was mentioned in the first half. If it was one of the more experienced players, they would have brought him down. Eriksen, there was no way he was going to be looking to run back 60, 70 yards with Alanga.
Yellow card for Eriksen, and that allows Manchester United to make a substitution. It's Joshua Zirkzee off, and Mason Mount is introduced for the last 13 minutes plus added time of this game. And I think because Zirkzee was out wide, perhaps now Mount will have the opportunity to go as an advanced 8 or a false 9. We'll wait and see how Manchester United line up. But Mount on, and off goes Zirkzee. Saw Victor Lindelof also warming up, but no suggestion yet of him being introduced to the game too. How do you think Mount will be utilised, given it's Zirkzee that has gone off the field?
I think he'll play inside right. Dalot will be getting around the outside of him. So there'll be that box of 4 in midfield. Bruno and Eriksen at the base of it. Garnacho and Mount just ahead of it.
Yeah, it looks like Dorgu will be encouraged to stay forwards as well now. Garnacho finds Dorgu down the left. He stands one up. It's over the head of Mount, and it's headed away by Alex Moreno. Forest 12 minutes away from a big win that gives them even more comfort in the race for Champions League football. Rodrigo Muniz, by the way, has pulled one back for Fulham. So, bit of a nervous finish for Arsenal. Here's Mason Mount on the edge of the area. First involvement, snapshot, and it's about 2 yards wide as he went for the bottom right-hand corner, but couldn't hit the target. But that's a real chance. And Mason Mount nearly with an instant impact. Garnacho's cross was half cleared by Murillo. Then Milinkovic casually passed the ball out to the edge of the area, straight to Mount. Controlled it, set himself, but just not quite enough bend on the ball, and it stays at Forest 1, Manchester United 0.
Yeah, that's a really good effort that from Mason Mount. You never worry about Mason Mount technically. On either foot, he's got a lot about him. You can tell that he was schooled right. He's got textbook finishes, and that was so close to being 1-1.
And after that, Milinkovic and Gibbs-White were having words, and there was nearly a bit of pushing and shoving between the two Forest players there.
Yeah, I understand Morgan Gibbs-White getting his point across. It was a poor clearance from Milinkovic, but me personally, I wouldn't be arguing with him.
You're not going to win that fight.
Massive, no.
But it was very, very nonchalant by Milinkovic.
Yeah.
He was trying to pass his way out of trouble with a whole crowd of players when really you should just put your foot through the ball.
Yeah. No, and all jokes aside, it's actually good to see Morgan Gibbs-White and Milinkovic going at it like that, because Nottingham Forest are in an unbelievable position. They need to demand the absolute utmost of one another, and after the game there'll be no issue with that whatsoever.
10 minutes to go here at the City Ground. Hello to those of you that were listening to John Anderson. Arsenal 2, Fulham 1, full time from the Emirates Stadium. Arsenal hanging on despite a late goal from Rodrigo Muniz. So now the gap is 9 points between Arsenal 61 and leaders Liverpool 70. Liverpool have got a game in hand. Nottingham Forest would move to 57. Chelsea 49. Man City 48. We don't yet know the exact permutations in terms of how far down the table you would go to get European football. But it's a fair bet that Nottingham Forest might only need 3 wins, Hogan, after this to be relatively sure, even if it's not mathematical, of Champions League football.
Yeah, and that's just incredible to think about. Start of the season, nobody could have predicted this, and they've just been absolutely outstanding.
So Arsenal 2, Fulham 1, Wolves 1, West Ham 0, and that puts a lot of pressure on Ipswich and Leicester. Southampton, of course, seem like goners, but they do play Crystal Palace tomorrow. All these games are live. Manchester United, if you've just joined us, trailing 1-0 to an early Anthony Elanga goal on the counter-attack. Awoniyi loses out to Bruno Fernandes, who tries a little air kick there and has injured himself in the process. Forest come away on the counter-attack. Alanga's got the pace ahead of Lenny Yoro down the right-hand side. Yoro slides in, and it's a perfect challenge, and it needed to be. And that stops Elanga from breaking into the area and potentially getting a shot away.
He's done brilliantly there, Lenny Yoro. Actually, first of all, I thought it was a foul, and I was going to say good foul to give away, but to actually get the ball is just incredible.
Forest 1, Manchester United 0, 8 minutes to go of regular time. It's a bit open and end-to-end, which is not really what Forest want. Here's Garnacho running towards the byline. The cutback is too far behind Højlund. And then Awoniyi is pushed to stop him getting to the ball first by Bruno Fernandes. Cynical foul. Referee keeping his cards in his pocket though. And Forest will have a welcome free kick inside their own half, and they will no doubt take an age with this.
Yeah, he's been an outstanding outlet, Awoniyi, in this game. There have been 2 occasions when he could have released Elanga and got him away, but honestly, to help his team get up the pitch and just hold it up and just unsettle defenders, he's been quality.
At full time, we're with you until just after 10 o'clock. Stay with us for all of the post-match reaction. And then tomorrow, Bournemouth Ipswich, Brighton Aston Villa, Man City Leicester, Newcastle Brentford, Southampton Everton, Southampton Palace I should say, and a Merseyside derby our featured game, 8 o'clock, Liverpool against Everton, and then on Thursday a London derby, Chelsea against Spurs. As here's Nico Dominguez infield to Awoniyi, who tried to spin and shoot and couldn't, takes a deflection off De Ligt, falls to Yates, who tried a very ambitious effort from central position 30 yards out, and he drags it about 8 yards wide. But again, that wastes more time, and now Forest are going to be making a double change, as it looks like Ibrahim Sangare and Jota Silva are both going to be introduced. Manchester United have kind of played their hand in the sense that Eriksen, Mason Mount and Rasmus Højlund are already on the field from the bench. 6 minutes remain. Forest 1, Manchester United 0. And here is Mazraoui, who we've barely mentioned in the second half. Dalot down the right, tried to play in Mount, who was probably offside anyway. And then there's a foul, as I think Højlund has just caught Alex Morena here. And that should allow Forest to make their double change, as Anthony Elanga looks like being one of the players who will depart. Man of the match for you, or do you still stand by Ryan Yates?
I think Ryan Yates has been brilliant, but obviously for the moment, and it looks like it could be the winner, you'd have to just go Elanga. I'm always going to go with an attacker and a goal scorer. It's an unbelievable goal. Came so early on in the game, and to have that composure, fantastic play from him.
Taiwo Awoniyi and Anthony Elanga are off. Ibrahim Sangare is coming on, and although Jota Silva was stripped off, Nuno Espirito Santo has changed his mind, and Ramon Sousa is the player to be introduced, with 5 minutes plus added time to go on Premier League Live. Great to have your company in Ireland, Canada, America and all across the world online as well. Thanks for all of your comments via @TalkSport Live. 5 minutes remain here at the City Ground. Forest 1, Manchester United 0. Elanga with an excellent goal, his 6th in the Premier League. And here's De Ligt for Manchester United. Everyone behind the ball for Nottingham Forest. Square ball to Mazraoui. Christian Eriksen receives it diagonally. Feeling as Eriksen will depart Manchester United at the end of the season. Mazraoui chips it looking for Dorgu, who's staying forwards at the moment, but he doesn't win the header, and Yates brings it away for Nottingham Forest, and then thinks he's fouled by Bruno Fernandes, but it looked like a fair challenge, and the referee with a good view, Jared Gillett, says play on, and Fernandes does well to wrestle possession back for Man United, and then De Ligt hoofs it forwards. Nico Dominguez has misjudged that slightly, but Garnacho can't quite keep it in play.
No, Garnacho just wasn't expecting that. I thought it could have been a little bit of a foul from Nico Dominguez there. He got himself in a really bad position because it was an awful ball forward from De Ligt. Terrible ball forward.
Manchester United are going to bring on Harry Maguire. Wouldn't surprise me if he's going to play up top.
Can't be much worse than what they've had this season.
No real logic unless someone's taken a knock in bringing on Maguire and just only having him back. I think what also could happen is Dorgu could be told you've got to stay forwards, and then possibly Maguire comes on as some kind of defensive reinforcement.
I think that they realise that they're going to have all of the ball because Nottingham Forest have took off the attackers. Gibbs White looks to be spearheading the attack, so Maguire's passing range might be the best. Oh no, he's gone straight up front. Dorgu left side as centre back, Garnacho left wing back.
Yeah, Lenioro's gone off, but Maguire's gone straight up top, so it does look like he's going to be used in a more advanced position. Sort of begs the question why he didn't leave Xerxes on and play Xerxes and Højlund up top and take Garnacho off. But I think it's just because Mason Mount doesn't want to play as a wide player. Here is Garnacho, who you never know might still have a bit of brilliance despite a very poor, nonchalant 90 minutes. Garnacho to Bruno Fernandes. Dorgu, who's back for now. Out to Garnacho on the left-hand side, who's running towards the edge of the area. Plays against Nico Williams, and that's a corner. Williams hit by the ball and slightly winded. I think he was trying to waste time, but then he realises it's a corner and he's straight back up on his feet. Substitute Maguire at the back post, playing as a makeshift striker at the moment. Rasmus Højlund is there as well. Bruno Fernandes on the edge of the area, so is Dorgu and Garnacho. Christian Eriksen to deliver this corner. 88 minutes on the clock. Far left-hand side, cluster of players at the back post, not the best delivery, and Nico Dominguez clears with his head. Only as far as Bruno Fernandes, who sort of showboats and tried to spin a ball into the box. I don't know if it's just because he didn't have his feet set, but it's nowhere near a teammate. Forrest just let it spin away for a goal kick.
Yeah, he does try the most audacious things, Bruno Fernandes. If that came off, wow. But it was a waste, absolute waste in the end.
There was no one there though, so even if he had a intended technique, there was no target.
I think his initial thought was to get it back out to the corner taker and Christian Eriksen, but he's got it completely wrong and skewed it. If anyone was questioning whether these games mean anything to Manchester United, that sub bringing on Maguire up front tells you exactly where they stand on that. They want the points.
Garnacho to Mount, Dorgu, and again all too easy for Alex Moreno, and Forest may have a counter attack here as the substitute Ramon Sousa brings it over the halfway line, but then has the sense to check back. Sangare, fellow substitute, Dominguez, and Forest are just doing well to keep the ball here. 10 seconds of added time, of regular time plus added time to go. We understand there'll be 6 minutes of that as Sangare plays an outrageous ball to Nico Williams, who hit it first time, and that would have been a wonderful goal. It was so well weighted, switching it from left to right, and Williams had got there ahead of the Manchester United defence. And again, Garnacho was guilty of not staying with his man. Williams hit it first time, but just couldn't keep it down.
Yeah, I thought Garnacho might have clipped him and just put him off balance a little bit. He's gone for the wonder strike, Williams, but what a pass from Sangare. I didn't know he had that range in him, to be fair.
6 minutes of added time, of which we've played 30 seconds. Garnacho crosses first time. Milinkovic, the towering defender, heads it clear. Bruno Fernandes calmly works the ball back to Mazraoui. Dalot has it 30 yards from goal. He's under a bit of pressure here and doesn't have many options ahead of him. Back he goes to Mazraoui. Hoyland. Mazraoui again. Dallow on the right-hand side. Crosses first time. High. Looping towards the back post. First header won by Maguire. And then a dangerous challenge in the box. Manchester United are claiming a penalty. Dallow meanwhile puts the ball in. Mazraoui was the player who says he was caught. Referee unmoved, and now there's a counter-attack at the other end. Nico Dominguez against Christian Eriksen. Garnacho this time does well to track back and puts his body in front of the ball and wins it back well.
Yeah, he's ended up doing really well. I was feeling a little bit sorry for Eriksen there. He was going to have a 50-60 yard run on his hands.
And on a yellow.
Yeah, in this stage of his career, it's not what he's looking for.
Garnacho to Dorgu by the byline. He cuts it back. Maguire was in there. His heroic defending. And somehow Forest get the ball away. It was just slightly behind Harry Maguire.
Maguire's missed it.
He got his head to it, yeah. But I also think that Morata, the substitute, did just about enough. And yeah, the final touch is off Maguire.
Wow. It's a massive chance. I think it was slightly behind him and he's not expecting the defender to miss it.
Maguire's sort of picking it up as if it's a corner, but it's a goal kick here to Forest. There's definitely no touch by Morata, and that will go down as a missed chance from Harry Maguire.
It's a huge chance for him. He's not going to get much played into his feet in and around the box to twist and turn, so that sort of chance is golden when you put him up top.
So 6 minutes of added time, and we've played nearly 93 minutes of it. Manchester United with 20 attempts on goal, 68% possession, and yet Forest on course for an excellent win to consolidate their place in third. Manchester United looking dangerous all of a sudden though, as Mason Mount, Harry Maguire all pushing forwards, and Maguire did really well there just to hold up the ball and lay it off to Hoyland. Now it's back with Christian Eriksen, who's going to tee up once again Garnacho, who tried to hit it first time, and Yates straight in his face once again to make the block.
Does he know if someone's standing in front of him, you can't shoot through them? Surely.
Garnacho again on the left-hand side, and this time he tries to cross it when again there was a player in front of him. It's Yates once again, and Forest are able to half clear. Substitute Ramon Sousa taking a bit of a leap at De Ligt there, but De Ligt just standing his ground, and Manchester United can come forwards again. Dorgu looking for Maguire. Again he won the header, but Morata just got enough on it, and Forest clear their lines for a Manchester United throw-in on this near right-hand side, but Maguire's making an impact in the box.
I was just going to say they'll be wishing they brought him on 5-10 minutes earlier.
Dorgu to Mason Mount, who's at the byline. His cross is blocked by Nico Dominguez. Hoyland can't get there. Scrambled away by Forest, but a bit of a nervous finish here. It looks like there's an injury to Nico Dominguez and his right ankle, which is just going to hold up play here.
As far as his teammates, I'll be telling him to get up, because you don't want the referee to be sending him off the pitch for 30 seconds and defending with 10 men. You need everybody on the pitch and alert now.
Forest 2 minutes away from a really important and impressive win that's been marked by one moment of quality and defensive resilience and just savvy game management. Manchester United haven't been clinical yet, but there's still about 2 minutes remaining, and they'll have a throw-in on the far left-hand side. Dallow dummies long, goes short to Garnacho. Forest fans want a foul throw. Garnacho's cross is poor, and now there's a counter-attack. Morgan Gibbs-White hurtling forwards. Garnacho trying to stay with him. Gibbs-White didn't want to go to the corner flag. He tried to cut it back towards Sousa, and it was behind him, and that will allow Bruno Fernandes to bring the ball up towards the halfway line. 1 minute remain. Bruno Fernandes, diagonal ball to Dorgu on the left hand side. Dallow's now in the box. Dorgu crosses first time. Milinkovic gets there ahead of Hoyland, and Williams won't be able to keep it in play. Manchester United throw in level with the 6-yard area, although they've taken it right level with the edge of the area, nowhere near where the throw in was due. And the cross from left to right takes a little nick off a Forest player, and De Ligt will let it run out for a Man United throw-in with 30 seconds remaining. Throw-in taken short to Dallow. Bruno Fernandes chips it in towards the box. Williams half clears with a header, bobbles around on the edge of the area, and hoofed clear by Forest for another Manchester United throw-in. 6 minutes up. With the Williams injury, there's probably only 20 seconds remaining.
You'd think so, yes. These fans are demanding the whistle right now, though.
6 minutes are up. Last chance saloon for Manchester United. Ball played out to the left-hand side. And Manchester United now spread it to Dallow on the right. Mazraoui crosses. It's dangerous towards the back post. It bobbles around in the area. And there is a golden opportunity for Maguire. And Murillo is on the line to clear it and prevent a certain equaliser. Eriksson now has it by the byline. And his cross shot just skims the top of the goal and goes out for a goal kick, and that is that. But late drama as Murillo clears off the line from Maguire to prevent an equaliser, and Forest hold on for a massive 3 points. Alanga's early goal, drama at the end, but Manchester United defeated, and it's 3 big points for Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, it's an absolutely massive win from Nottingham Forest. And that right at the death from Murillo is absolutely outstanding. He sees that the ball's gone to the back post. His first thought is, I can't affect it, so let me get into a position where I can affect the next phase. Drops back on his own goal line to clear it off the line. That's that that's that great spirit. It's a great spirit.
To be fair to Maguire, when you look at it, it's behind him, and actually Maguire does ever so well to get anything on it at the second time of asking. He can't really hit it with any more power because it's behind him.
No, he's done what he can. You've just got to try and poke it out of your feet, and he's done enough. But you mentioned it, he came on and he gave him a box presence. They actually looked better with him in that number 9 position. Of course, that's not the long-term answer. It would be ridiculous to start a game with him there. But if they got him on 5-10 minutes earlier, he could have maybe caused another problem or two.
From Forest's point of view, not mathematically of course, but there's a big gap now. 57 in third, 49 to Chelsea, 5th place good enough for Champions League football. On this evidence, they don't look like slipping up.
No, they just look so resolute at the back, and obviously they carry the threat going forward. They'll hope that Chris Wood's back soon. And the confidence in the training ground just must be buzzing at the moment. It must be the best training ground in the country. That would go without saying for me. And I really hope they do it now. I think everyone inside that club, they won't say it publicly, but they'll be disappointed if they're not in the Champions League next season. And
just briefly for Manchester United, Europa League or bust?
Yeah, it is. I think there's enough in that performance today to encourage them. They're playing one of the best teams in the Premier League currently, and I thought Manchester United played quite well in stages. There's stuff that they need to improve on and sharpen up, but it's Europa League or bust, so it's just getting people ready for that game. Use the Manchester City game of the weekend to get some fitness into Mason Mount and other key players, and then that's their season.
Hogan, great to have your company as ever. Look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you, pleasure as always.
Hogan Ephraim there, that's it for myself, Ben Jacobs as well. Full time from the City Ground. Nottingham Forest consolidating third place. Anthony Elanga with a one-man counter-attack, an early goal on 5 minutes, and then Murillo clearing off the line late on to prevent Harry Maguire equalising in injury time, and as a result it has finished Manchester United 0, losing at the City Ground. Nottingham Forest 1. Meanwhile, tomorrow we've got a bunch of Premier League action for you, including the Merseyside derby at 8 o'clock, Liverpool against Everton. Do join us for that one. And on the 3rd of April, Chelsea against Spurs. That's it from myself, Ben Jacobs, though. Full time from the City Ground. Forest 1, Manchester United 0.
You're looking good, you're looking sharp.
On XM and Internet 374, 7:05 p.m. Nebraska faces Creighton on XM and Internet 372. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your Sirius XM sports schedule for Tuesday, April the 1st. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NBA, 7:30 p.m., Atlanta Hawks face the Portland Trail Blazers. Hawks on Sirius 81 XM 212 and Internet 880, Blazers on Internet 904. 7:30 p.m., Milwaukee Bucks face the Phoenix Suns. Bucks on Sirius XM channels 86, Internet 896, Suns on Internet 903. 7:30 p.m. New York Knicks take on the Philadelphia 76ers. Knicks on Sirius 85 XM 214 and Internet 899, 76ers on Internet 902. 8 p.m. Memphis Grizzlies take on the Golden State Warriors. Grizzlies on Sirius 83 XM 213 and Internet 894, Warriors on Internet 889. 8 p.m. San Antonio Spurs face the Orlando Magic. Spurs on Sirius 119 XM 215 and Internet 906, Magic on Internet 901. 8 p.m. Chicago Bulls face the Toronto Raptors. Bulls on Sirius XM channels 167, Internet 884, Raptors on Internet 907. 10 p.m. Denver Nuggets take on the Minnesota Timberwolves. Nuggets on Sirius XM channels 86, Internet 887, Timberwolves on Internet 897.
On the court and off, your home for the NBA is SiriusXM. Follow all the drama as your favorite team vies for it all. SiriusXM NBA Radio, SiriusXM 86.
I'm Mick Kern with It Happened in Baseball. Most baseball fans have heard the tale of the tape story about Mickey Mantle hitting a baseball out of Griffith Stadium in Washington back in 1953. New York Yankees PR man Red Patterson got out the old trusty tape measure and guesstimated that the Mantle homer would have traveled 565 feet before coming to a rest in a yard across the way. Over the years, that distance has been questioned. Using modern science, the distance has now been pegged at 510 feet, still an impressive feat. Some have claimed that Mantle once launched one even further at Yankee Stadium on May 22nd, 1963, against the Kansas City A's. Mantle said it was the hardest ball he ever hit. Those in the know say if it hadn't hit the stadium facade, it would have traveled 734 feet. Others estimate a more reasonable 620 feet for that mammoth shot. We'll never know. Mantle hit the facade at least 2 other times during his storied career. That home run against the A's was in the 11th inning and won the game 8-7 for the Yanks. The original Yankee power hitter was none other than Babe Ruth, and he regularly blasted home runs 475 feet and over in length. June 8th, 1926, in Detroit, it is claimed the Sultan of Swat lived up to the name with a moon launch that traveled 600 feet. That figure is called into question due to the propensity of newspaper reporters at the time to exaggerate blasts for maximum effect. That home run has been estimated to have traveled 500 feet. No doubt still a sight to behold. For It Happened in Baseball, I'm Mick Kern.
SiriusXM NFL Radio Channel 88 brings you expert analysis from former players, coaches, and executives, plus reaction to all the latest news on the only 24/7 station dedicated to the National Football League.
I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM sports schedule for Tuesday, April the 1st. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the EPL, 2:45 p.m., Arsenal faces Fulham with the Arsenal feed on Internet 1900, Fulham on Internet 1940, National feed on SiriusXM and Internet channels 157. 2:45 p.m., Wolverhampton faces West Ham, Wolverhampton on Internet 1995, West Ham on Internet 1990. 3 p.m., Nottingham Forest faces Manchester United, Nottingham Forest feed on Internet 1975, Manchester United on Internet 1965. In Major League Baseball, 6:40 p.m., Miami Marlins face the New York Mets, Marlins on Sirius 219, XM 176 and Internet 855, Mets on Internet 858. 6:40 p.m., Cincinnati Reds face the Texas Rangers, Reds on Sirius 208, XM 175 and Internet 847, Rangers on Internet 867, Spanish feed on Internet 870. 7:05 p.m., New York Yankees take on the Arizona Diamondbacks, Yankees on Sirius 210, XM 177 and Internet 859, Diamondbacks on Internet 840. 7:05 p.m., Tampa Bay Rays face the Pittsburgh Pirates, Rays on Sirius 211, XM 178 and Internet 866, Pirates on Internet 861. 7:07 p.m., Toronto Blue Jays face the Washington Nationals, Jays on Sirius 137, XM 179 and Internet 868, Nationals on Internet 869. 7:40 p.m., Chicago White Sox face the Minnesota Twins, White Sox on Sirius 138, XM 180 and Internet 846, Twins on Internet 857. 7:40 p.m., Milwaukee Brewers take on the Kansas City Royals, Brewers on Sirius 139, XM 181 and Internet 856, Royals on Internet 852. 7:45 p.m., St. Louis Cardinals face the LA Angels, Cardinals on Sirius 106, XM 182 and Internet 865, Angels on Internet 853. 8:10 p.m., Houston Astros face the San Francisco Giants, Astros on Sirius XM channels 89, Internet 851, Giants on Internet 863. 9:40 p.m., Seattle Mariners face the Detroit Tigers. Mariners on Sirius 160, XM 183 and Internet 864. Tigers on Internet 850. 9:40 p.m., San Diego Padres taking the Cleveland Guardians. Padres on Sirius 132, XM 184 and Internet 862. Guardians on Internet 848. 10:05 p.m., the A's face the Chicago Cubs on Sirius 146, XM 186 and Internet 841. With the Cubs feed on Internet 845. 10:10 p.m. LA Dodgers face the Atlanta Braves. Dodgers on Sirius 161, XM 185 and Internet 854. Braves on Internet 842. Spanish feed on Sirius 162, XM 187 and Internet 871. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your Sirius XM sports schedule for Tuesday, April the 1st. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the EPL, 2:45 p.m., Arsenal faces Fulham with the Arsenal feed on Internet 1900, Fulham on Internet 1940, national feed on Sirius XM and Internet channels 157. 2:45 p.m., Wolverhampton faces West Ham, Wolverhampton on Internet 1995, West Ham on Internet 1990. 3 p.m., Nottingham Forest faces Manchester United, Nottingham Forest feed on Internet 1975, Manchester United on Internet 1965. In Major League Baseball, 6:40 p.m., Miami Marlins face the New York Mets. Marlins on Sirius 219, XM 176 and Internet 855, Mets on Internet 858. 6:40 p.m., Cincinnati Reds face the Texas Rangers. Reds on Sirius 208, XM 175 and Internet 847, Rangers on Internet 867, Spanish feed on Internet 870. 7:05 p.m., New York Yankees take on the Arizona Diamondbacks. Yankees on Sirius 210, XM 177 and Internet 859, Diamondbacks on Internet 840.
Follow every second of the action on NHL Network Radio. From behind the bench to every play on the ice. If it's hockey, it's on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio. SiriusXM 91.
I'm Ryan Payton for SiriusXM Sports. In the 1960s and early 70s, there was one name in NCAA basketball, UCLA. They were dominant over a 12-year stretch. They won all 30 games they played in 1963, the first of 4 times they would go undefeated during their run. 2 more titles and another undefeated season followed in the next 3 years, and then maybe the greatest player in collegiate history joined the team. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, known as Lou Alcindor at the time, took the NCAA by storm. He led the Bruins to 3 straight championships, averaging 26.4 points per game. They even banned dunking from 67 to 76 because of his dominance. When he finally left the Bruins campus after the 1969 season and 3 straight titles, success did not stop for Wooden and UCLA. They won their 4th, 5th, and 6th straight national titles, leading up to one of the greatest runs in sports history. The 72-73 season saw them win a national title and a 2nd straight undefeated 30-0 season, running their total to 75 straight wins and 7 national titles in a row. In 73, both streaks would come to an end. One more title for UCLA and Wooden in 74-75 as the coach went out on top one last time. In all, 10 championships in 12 years equals one of the greatest dynasties in sports. For SiriusXM Sports, I'm Ryan Payton.
Hear it all on demand. Your favorite shows, your favorite games. Don't miss a second of your favorite SiriusXM programming on demand with the SiriusXM app. Download it now for free.
I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM sports schedule for Tuesday, April the 1st. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NBA, 7:30 p.m., Atlanta Hawks face the Portland Trail Blazers. Hawks on Sirius 81, XM 212 and Internet 880. Blazers on Internet 904. 7:30 p.m., Milwaukee Bucks face the Phoenix Suns. Bucks on Sirius and XM channels 86, Internet 896. Suns on Internet 903. 7:30 p.m., New York Knicks take on the Philadelphia 76ers. Knicks on Sirius 85, XM 214 and Internet 899. 76ers on Internet 902. 8 p.m., Memphis Grizzlies take on the Golden State Warriors. Grizzlies on Sirius 83, XM 213 and Internet 894. Warriors on Internet 889. 8 p.m., San Antonio Spurs face the Orlando Magic. Spurs on Sirius 119, XM 215 and Internet 906. Magic on Internet 9 901. 8 p.m., Chicago Bulls face the Toronto Raptors. Bulls on Sirius XM channels 167 Internet 884, Raptors on Internet 907. 10 p.m., Denver Nuggets take on the Minnesota Timberwolves. Nuggets on Sirius XM channels 86 Internet 887, Timberwolves on Internet 897. In the NHL, 7 p.m., Columbus Blue Jackets face the Nashville Predators. Jackets on XM 221 Internet 927, Predators on Internet 935. 7 p.m., Boston Bruins face the Washington Capitals. Bruins on XM 202 Internet 921, Capitals on Sirius XM channels 91 Internet 950. 7 p.m., Ottawa Senators face the Buffalo Sabres. Senators on XM 220 Internet 939, Sabres on Internet 922. 7 p.m., Montreal Canadiens face the Florida Panthers. Canadiens on XM 219 Internet 934, Panthers on Internet 931. 7:30 p.m., New York Islanders take on the Tampa Bay Lightning. Islanders on XM 222 Internet 937, Lightning on Internet 945. 8 p.m., St. Louis Blues face the Detroit Red Wings. Blues on XM 223 Internet 944, Red Wings on Internet 929. 9 p.m., Utah Hockey Club faces the Calgary Flames. Utah on XM 201 Internet 947, Flames on Internet 923. 10 p.m., Anaheim Ducks face the San Jose Sharks. Ducks on XM 219 Internet 920, Sharks on Internet 942. 10 p.m., Vegas Golden Knights face the Edmonton Oilers. Knights on Sirius XM channels 91 Internet 949, Oilers on Internet 930. 10 p.m., LA Kings face the Winnipeg Jets. Kings on XM 220 Internet 932, Jets on Internet 951. In NCAA College Men's Basketball, 7 p.m., UC Irvine takes on North Texas on Sirius XM and Internet Channels 84. 9:30 p.m., Chattanooga takes on Loyola Chicago on Sirius XM and Internet Channels 84. In NCAA College Baseball, 7 p.m., Vanderbilt takes on Western Kentucky on XM and Internet 374. 7:05 p.m., Nebraska faces Creighton on XM and Internet 372. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your Sirius XM sports schedule for Tuesday, April the 1st. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NBA, 7:30 p.m., Atlanta Hawks face the Portland Trail Blazers. Hawks on Sirius 81 XM 212 and Internet 880, Blazers on Internet 904. 7:30 p.m., Milwaukee Bucks face the Phoenix Suns. Bucks on Sirius XM channels 86 Internet 896, Suns on Internet 903. 7:30 p.m., New York Knicks take on the Philadelphia 76ers. Knicks on Sirius 85 XM 214 and Internet 899, 76ers on Internet 902. 8 p.m., Memphis Grizzlies take on the Golden State Warriors. Grizzlies on Sirius 83 XM 213 and Internet 894, Warriors on Internet 889. 8 p.m., San Antonio Spurs face the Orlando Magic. Spurs on Sirius 119 XM 215 and Internet 906, Magic on Internet 901. 8 p.m., Chicago Bulls face the Toronto Raptors. Bulls on Sirius XM channels 167 Internet 884, Raptors on Internet 907. 10 p.m., Denver Nuggets take on the Minnesota Timberwolves. Nuggets on Sirius XM channels 86 Internet 887, Timberwolves on Internet 897.
The PGA Tour comes to life on Sirius XM. It's your destination for everything on the tour. Hear live hole-by-hole coverage and expert analysis. PGA Tour Radio, Sirius XM 92.
I'm Mick Kern with It Happened in Baseball. Beginning in 1994, Major League Baseball introduced the wild card concept to the pennant race. Both the National and American League split into 3 divisions each, and the wild card qualifier was the team with the best record that did not win a division title. But the loss of the last part of the 94 season, including the postseason, put all of that on hold until the following year. In a season where Mickey Mantle passed away and Derek Jeter made his Major League debut, the New York Yankees were the first ever AL wildcard team, finishing 7 games behind the Red Sox. It was also Don Mattingly's only postseason appearance after 14 years in pinstripes. He batted .417 and had 6 RBI in a 5-game ALDS loss to the Mariners. The Colorado Rockies were the first ever NL wildcard team. Heading into the 2015 season, 6 times the wildcard team has gone on to win the World Series. The first to do it, the 1997 Florida Marlins. They also won the 2003 World Series, again as a wildcard entry. It's the only 2 times the now Miami Marlins have even qualified for the postseason. The 2002 Angels, the 2004 Red Sox, the 11 Cardinals, and the 14 Giants all won the World Series as wildcard teams. That Red Sox win was their first championship in 86 years. Boston has been a wildcard team 8 times. On 6 occasions, the wildcard team has made it to the World Series, only to come up short, including the 2014 Royals. In 2012, baseball added a second wildcard team, which sets up a winner-moves-on 1-game showdown between the 2 wildcard clubs. For It Happened in Baseball, I'm Mick Kern.
Sirius XM has soccer covered end to end. Sirius XM FC. Hear live play-by-play and talk shows hosted by legends of the game. It's Sirius XM FC on Channel 157.
I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your Sirius XM sports schedule for Tuesday, April the 1st. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the EPL, 2:45 p.m., Arsenal faces Fulham with the Arsenal feed on Internet 1900, Fulham on Internet 1940, national feed on Sirius XM and Internet channels 157. 2:45 p.m., Wolverhampton faces West Ham, Wolverhampton on Internet 1995, West Ham on Internet 1990. 3 p.m., Nottingham Forest faces Manchester United, Nottingham Forest feed on Internet 1975, Manchester United on Internet 1965. In Major League Baseball, 6:40 p.m., Miami Marlins face the New York Mets. Marlins on Sirius 219, XM 176 and Internet 855, Mets on Internet 858. 6:40 p.m., Cincinnati Reds face the Texas Rangers. Reds on Sirius 208, XM 175 and Internet 847, Rangers on Internet 867, Spanish feed on Internet 870. 7:05 p.m., New York Yankees take on the Arizona Diamondbacks. Yankees on Sirius 210, XM 177 and Internet 859, Diamondbacks on Internet 840. 7:05 p.m., Tampa Bay Rays face the Pittsburgh Pirates. Rays on Sirius 211, XM 178 and Internet 866, Pirates on Internet 861. 7:07 p.m., Toronto Blue Jays face the Washington Nationals. Jays on Sirius 137, XM 179 and Internet 868, Nationals on Internet 869. 7:40 p.m., Chicago White Sox face the Minnesota Twins. White Sox on Sirius 138, XM 180 and Internet 846, Twins on Internet 857. 7:40 p.m., Milwaukee Brewers take on the Kansas City Royals. Brewers on Sirius 139, XM 181 and Internet 856, Royals on Internet 852. 7:45 p.m., St. Louis Cardinals face the LA Angels. Cardinals on Sirius 106, XM 182 and Internet 865, Angels on Internet 853. 8:10 p.m., Houston Astros face the San Francisco Giants. Astros on Sirius and XM channels 89, Internet 851, Giants on Internet 863. 9:40 p.m., Seattle Mariners face the Detroit Tigers. Mariners on Sirius 160, XM 183 and Internet 864, Tigers on Internet 850. 9:40 p.m., San Diego Padres take on the Cleveland Guardians. Padres on Sirius 132, XM 184 and Internet 862, Guardians on Internet 848. 10:05 p.m., the A's face the Chicago Cubs on Sirius 146, XM 186 and Internet 841, with the Cubs feed on Internet 845. 10:10 p.m. LA Dodgers face the Atlanta Braves. Dodgers on Sirius 161, XM 185 and Internet 854, Braves on Internet 842, Spanish feed on Sirius 162, XM 187 and Internet 871. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your Sirius XM sports schedule for Tuesday, April the 1st. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the EPL, 2:45 p.m., Arsenal faces Fulham with the Arsenal feed on Internet 1900, Fulham on Internet 1940, national feed on Sirius XM and Internet channels 157. 2:45 p.m., Wolverhampton faces West Ham, Wolverhampton on Internet 1995, West Ham on Internet 1990. 3 p.m., Nottingham Forest faces Manchester United, Nottingham Forest feed on Internet 1975, Manchester United on Internet 1965. In Major League Baseball, 6:40 p.m., Miami Marlins face the New York Mets. Marlins on Sirius 219, XM 176 and Internet 855, Mets on Internet 858. 6:40 p.m., Cincinnati Reds face the Texas Rangers. Reds on Sirius 208, XM 175 and Internet 847, Rangers on Internet 867, Spanish feed on Internet 870. 7:05 p.m., New York Yankees take on the Arizona Diamondbacks. Yankees on Sirius 210, XM 177 and Internet 859, Diamondbacks on Internet 840.
Follow every second of the action on NHL Network Radio. From behind the bench to every play on the ice. If it's hockey, it's on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio. Sirius XM 91.
I'm Mick Kern with It Happened in Baseball. September 20th, 1958 and June 11th, 2003. That represents a streak of 6,980 games during which the New York Yankees avoided being no-hit, the longest streak in Major League Baseball history. The 1958 no-hitter was compliments of Baseball Hall of Famer Hoyt Wilhelm, then pitching for the Baltimore Orioles, the first no-no in O's history after relocating from St. Louis 5 years earlier. The next team to no-hit the Yankees was the Houston Astros, Astros in 2003. This time around, there was no future Hall of Famer on the mound against the Yankees, just 6 pitchers. Roy Oswald was only able to go 1 inning that Wednesday evening thanks to a groin injury, but he struck out 2 and didn't give up any hits on 21 pitches. That left the ball in the hands of Peter Monroe, who threw a whopping 57 pitches over 2 2/3 innings, striking out 2 and walking 3, but surrendering 0 hits. That led to Kirk Saarloos, who pitched an inning in the 3rd, racking up 1 K and no hits against. Brad Lidge, who would eventually get credited with the win, was up next, and over his 2 innings on the mound, Lidge struck out 2 and gave up no hits. That led to Octavio Dotel, who recorded 4 strikeouts in the bottom of the 8th as Yankee second baseman Alfonso Soriano reached first on a wild pitch, but he was stranded there. Lastly, Billy Wagner pitched the 9th inning, setting the Yanks down in order, including 2 strikeouts. The Astros tagged Yankees starter Jeff Weaver for 5 runs and ended up winning this improbable no-hitter 8-0 thanks to 6 pitchers. For It Happened in Baseball, I'm Mick Kern.
SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio is the place for expert advice, strategy, and information from the best fantasy sports analysis to win your league. Plus, hear pick-by-pick coverage of live drafts and interviews with top players, coaches, and team executives on SiriusXM 87.
I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM sports schedule for Tuesday, April the 1st. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NBA, 7:30 p.m., Atlanta Hawks face the Portland Trail Blazers. Hawks on Sirius 81 XM 212 and Internet 880, Blazers on Internet 904. 7:30 p.m., Milwaukee Bucks face the Phoenix Suns. Bucks on Sirius and XM channels 86, Internet 896, Suns on Internet 903. 7:30 p.m. New York Knicks take on the Philadelphia 76ers. Knicks on Sirius 85 XM 214 and Internet 899, 76ers on Internet 902. 8 p.m. Memphis Grizzlies take on the Golden State Warriors. Grizzlies on Sirius 83 XM 213 and Internet 894, Warriors on Internet 889. 8 p.m. San Antonio Spurs face the Orlando Magic. Spurs on Sirius 119 XM 215 and Internet 906, Magic on Internet 901. 8 p.m. Chicago Bulls face the Toronto Raptors. Bulls on Sirius and XM channels 167, Internet 884, Raptors on Internet 907. 10 p.m. Denver Nuggets take on the Minnesota Timberwolves. Nuggets on Sirius and XM channels 86, Internet 887, Timberwolves on Internet 897. In the NHL, 7 p.m., Columbus Blue Jackets face the Nashville Predators. Jackets on XM 221, Internet 927, Predators on Internet 935. 7 p.m., Boston Bruins face the Washington Capitals. Bruins on XM 202, Internet 921, Capitals on Sirius and XM channels 91, Internet 950. 7 p.m., Ottawa Senators face the Buffalo Sabres. Senators on XM 220, Internet 939, Sabres on Internet 922. 7 p.m., Montreal Canadiens face the Florida Panthers. Canadiens on XM 219, Internet 934, Panthers on Internet 931. 7:30 p.m., New York Islanders take on the Tampa Bay Lightning. Islanders on XM 222, Internet 937, Lightning on Internet 945. 8 p.m., St. Louis Blues face the Detroit Red Wings. Blues on XM 223, Internet 944, Red Wings on Internet 929. 9 p.m., Utah Hockey Club faces the Calgary Flames. Utah on XM 201, Internet 947, Flames on Internet 923. 10 p.m., Anaheim Ducks face the San Jose Sharks. Ducks on XM 219, Internet 920, Sharks on Internet 942. 10 p.m., Vegas Golden Knights face the Edmonton Oilers. Knights on Sirius and XM channels 91, Internet 949, Oilers on Internet 930. 10 p.m., LA Kings face the Winnipeg Jets. Kings on XM 220, Internet 932, Jets on Internet 951. In NCAA College Men's Basketball, 7 p.m., UC Irvine takes on North Texas on Sirius XM and Internet channels 84. 9:30 p.m., Chattanooga takes on Loyola Chicago on Sirius XM and Internet channels 84. In NCAA College Baseball, 7 p.m., Vanderbilt takes on Western Kentucky on XM and Internet 374. 7:05 p.m., Nebraska faces Creighton on XM and Internet 372. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your Sirius XM sports schedule for Tuesday, April the 1st. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NBA, 7:30 p.m., Atlanta Hawks face the Portland Trail Blazers. Hawks on Sirius 81 XM 212 and Internet 880, Blazers on Internet 904. 7:30 p.m., Milwaukee Bucks face the Phoenix Suns. Bucks on Sirius XM channels 86 Internet 896, Suns on Internet 903. 7:30 p.m. New York Knicks take on the Philadelphia 76ers. Knicks on Sirius 85 XM 214 and Internet 899, 76ers on Internet 902. 8 p.m. Memphis Grizzlies take on the Golden State Warriors. Grizzlies on Sirius 83 XM 213 and Internet 894, Warriors on Internet 889. 8 p.m. San Antonio Spurs face the Orlando Magic. Spurs on Sirius 119 XM 215 and Internet 906, Magic on Internet 901. 8 p.m. Chicago Bulls face the Toronto Raptors. Bulls on Sirius XM channels 167 Internet 884, Raptors on Internet 907. 10 p.m. Denver Nuggets take on the Minnesota Timberwolves. Nuggets on Sirius XM channels 86 Internet 887, Timberwolves on Internet 897.
Get the latest news, opinion, and analysis from MMA to boxing and the professional wrestling world 24/7. SiriusXM Fight Nation, SiriusXM 156, and the SXM app.
For SiriusXM Sports, I'm Ryan Payton. You know, there's no doubt that Barry Bonds is a controversial figure, so much so that Major League Baseball's all-time leader in home runs is still not in the Hall of Fame, but there's also no denying the amazing things he did on the field. His 762 home runs are more than anyone has ever hit, 73 coming in the 01 campaign, which is still the all-time record for a single season. But maybe the most remarkable thing about Bonds was how much opposing teams feared him. He walked 2,558 times, which is another Major League record. That's more than 1,000 walks than the 1,539 times he struck out. He was so good that he was walked intentionally 688 times. Of those walks, 41 came with the bases empty, 1 came with the bases loaded. His career was so amazing that the 2001 season in which he hit 73 jacks may not have even been his season. That probably came in 04 when Bonds posted an on-base plus slugging percentage of 1.422. That is also a single-season Major League record. And Bonds did this at the age of 39. Now, many suspect him taking performance-enhancing drugs, just like so many others around the game at the time did. But none of them were able to do anything close to what Barry Bonds did. He had all facets of the game. He was a 5-tool player, and he was one of the best. For SiriusXM Sports, I'm Ryan Payton.
Mad Dog Sports Radio has the best sports talk in the business, covering sports with a passion and knowledge you need. Mad Dog Sports Radio, SiriusXM 86, and the SXM app.
I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM Sports schedule for Tuesday, April the 1st. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the EPL, 2:45 p.m., Arsenal faces Fulham with the Arsenal feed on Internet 1900, Fulham on Internet 1940, national feed on Sirius XM and Internet channels 157. 2:45 p.m., Wolverhampton faces West Ham, Wolverhampton on Internet 1995, West Ham on Internet 1990. 3 p.m., Nottingham Forest faces Manchester United, Nottingham Forest feed on Internet 1975, Manchester United on Internet 1965. In Major League Baseball, 6:40 p.m., Miami Marlins face the New York Mets. Marlins on Sirius 219, XM 176 and Internet 855, Mets on Internet 858. 6:40 p.m., Cincinnati Reds face the Texas Rangers. Reds on Sirius 208, XM 175 and Internet 847, Rangers on
Boom. What's up, soccer fans? Thanks for hanging out with us this morning, this afternoon, this evening, whatever time it is, wherever you're watching from. I am your host, Mike. Some call me TSI Mike, some call me SOP Mike. We're live today on Sons of a Pitch Soccer Central for Manchester United against Nottingham Forest. It's going to be a fun one today, even though the game really doesn't matter. When you look at the table, Nottingham Forest at third place with 54 points, and Manchester United sitting in a lowly 13th place with 37 points. I think we're safe with relegation. Don't have to worry about that. but trying to get to those Europa League spots is probably not going to happen either. So this game is pretty much meaningless, but we're glad you're here hanging out with us. Please hit the like button down below and share this link out. Let's get more fans here in the chat, and let's help build an awesome community for Manchester United fans here on YouTube. That's what I do at Toronto Sports Insider. That's why you see the Final Four hoodie here. We're getting ready for the Final Four and the Bracket Mania coverage with Toronto Sports Insider. But hey, with Sons of a Pitch Soccer Central, we're doing the same type of deal, but around soccer and Manchester United. So make sure you check out True Killer on Discord and X if you play EAFC. Even if you don't, check out the TikTok at SOPTrue on TikTok. The link is in the description as well as pinned in the chat. We are going to be doing a lot of growing on our TikTok with SOP True. We're going to be doing all kinds of clips from EAFC when rank ones come in. Like, speaking of which, as I'm recording this, before we insert this in the live, True is finishing up the rank one for this week right now. So if you want your team to get a rank one and get those awesome rewards and get ready for team of the season, which is coming up very, very soon, the coin market is so cheap right now. You can build a team in a day with playing maybe 15 games max in a week. You will have a team ready to go. Send a message over to True on Twitter or Discord, X, whatever you want to call it. He'll turn your team into gold within seconds. But hey, gold cards aren't good right now. We get that. Anyways, watch out. I do the trading stuff. I build the teams. I put the team together. True goes and executes. SOPSC, a lot of footage coming up really soon on that as well. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. We've got to get to the soccer game. England, thank you for finding us. We'll see you in the chat. Go Manchester United, go. Let's get a result today, eh, boys? Come on, let's go. Come on.